go to here as well.
So Trump will continue. Obviously picked up the first wicket for the Hurricanes. Oh, just dives over it at point, but it should just be a single. Man out. So how do you continue to take wickets if you're the Hurricanes? You sort of play it safe. Last couple of overs have just gone for 5 and 6 runs. You're getting back into this game slowly. Do you go for that wicket, probably take a risk, bring back an Ashley Nurse through the middle, which is so effective?
You just said it. You just said it. Once you try and stop that single as well, which is slightly easier for these two, and vents the pressure. Once you stop that as well, that is when you invite the batters to do something different and outside their comfort zone. The beauty about Trump at the moment is the fact that he's got some late swing going and the sun's playing hide and seek.
Well, this is in the air, man underneath it, and takes the catch in the end. It's a good catch. Had to be aware in terms of where that boundary up was, and Trump has got his second. Mohamed Ilyas, safe pair of hands under it. The Houston Hurricanes slowly back into this game.
Oh, excellent delivery once again. Slightly early through the shot, I thought. And once that went straight up in the air, you could see belief in the eyes of Houston. Houston Hurricanes waiting for that ball to land in the palm of one of the fielders, and there it went. Good catch, very good catch. He's got to have that boundary awareness. Ilyas does it excellently in the end.
It was also so fascinating. Ilyas, not a tall man. A good start though for Awais Zia. He's gone for 38, 67 for 2. Arjun Reddy, the debutant, comes to the middle. Always so critical when you come to the middle in your first game. You want to sort of set the tournament alight. You want to get off to a good start, get some confidence under your belt.
Yeah, Arjun Reddy off late has been playing a lot of cricket back in India and Hyderabad. He's quite a name there too. Completed his high school and he finds himself in the US again. And finds himself in the middle with Trump bowling so very well. Arjun Reddy. Yes, Nikhil, as you mentioned, it's always important that you have a good start to set the tone nicely for the entire tournament. It's even more imperative for this man to have a good start, because I'll tell you what, Arjun Reddy is someone who's finding himself in the middle when his team is looking for the first win. So all eyes would be on the young debutant.
What I like about Trump, though, he's using his height well. Yes, he has those couple of deliveries, like the 2 wickets that he has bowled very full. But when he's on that good length in this surface, which is so tough to score on because of that slow nature, a lot of moisture in it, has been very tough to score. You see, forcing the batters back.
And it's been an excellent ploy to bring Saqlain close to the stumps. The keeper coming up to the stumps is sort of causing doubts in the batter's mind.
Almost could have been a stumping actually down the leg side. Good work by Saqlain Haider. Trump is not the slowest by any means, so he's got to be very consistent with his glove work. Takes a good take down the leg side.
And this is why Trump is so effective. Now this was the first one when he sent the first one, the off stump flying, and then of course an excellent catch by Ilyas in the deep. What do you think about that catch?
It was a really good catch, Ilyas at long on. And it tells you usually you don't see your shorter men in terms of at those type of positions. You usually see those tall fielders. Think of a Jason Holder, Kieron Pollard, 6'7", 6'8". Always sort of at those long on and off positions. But because of how good Mohamed Ilyas's hands are, Usman Rafiq was happy to sort of sacrifice some of that height for a safe pair of hands. So in the end, it worked for them perfectly. It's also a huge improvement from Matthew Trump, because last weekend against the Mustangs conceded 21 runs in just his 2 overs. So the fact that he's been able to come back into the game like this, pick up 2 wickets for his team, shown why Usman Rafiq has backed his players. It's a good thinker of the game, Usman Rafiq.
A good point, Nikhil, and also the fact that Matthew was able to do it when his team needed it the most. 55 was an excellent start that Chicago got. Chicago Blasters were looking good for more. And as in cricket we see so very often, one brings another. Matthew Tromp believes in it. He's got a good head on those shoulders, good cricketing thinking mind.
Good length, especially with the few that he has. 2 men square in the deep and 1 on the offside. This is good cricket from the Houston Hurricanes. After a very expensive power play, they come back well, 70 for 2. Work to be done for the Blasters after a really good start. They got in that first 6 overs. They've lost both of their openers now. Fahad Babar, well, he was the star of the show last weekend. He's fresh weekend though, fresh clean slate. We've got to start from 0.
Fahad Babar, extremely experienced. He's been in these situations before. What I believe Fahad needs to do in this innings is also try and mentor the young man on the other side, Arjun. Has gone
in the air and should be taken. And all of a sudden, new ball into the attack. We mentioned spin. And the impact it would have. Big wicket for the Houston Hurricanes. And it's that man, Asad Shafiq. First game of the season bowling, gentle off breaks, getting some spin, leading edge, and Fahad Babar, the danger man, is gone.
Checked his shot at the end almost, and he knew immediately that he was in trouble. An early exit for Fawad would mean joy for Houston Hurricanes because they know what this man can do. Fawad departs for a meager 4.
Asad Shafiq, this man with the golden arm, known so often for his batting exploits at the international level, but today with the ball in hand, first delivery, not a great delivery by any means, Suhas, just very short into the pitch, but it did get some purchase, some bit of extra grip. Seemed to surprise Fahad Babar.
You mentioned extra grip. Is it something that'll make Ashley Nurse's eyes go agog as well? His 2 overs become priceless if there's a bit of grip that the ball's getting now. I would just put it down to a poor shot from Fawad as well. Fahad slightly early into the shot and suddenly realizes the ball's ballooned up in the air. An easy catch.
In the circle, guys. No single in the circle.
So Ashar Mehdi, the captain, walks out to the middle. He had been sliding down the leg side, but you know the importance of the skipper. Now he's got a debutant at the other end, 2 brand new batters at the crease. Asad Shafiq, short, actually so short, Suhas. It was probably on a good length, but it definitely got some extra turn. But you can see Babar, the disappointment shown. Didn't expect, probably didn't accommodate for that extra spin into him.
It's very unlike Fahad there, the way he got out. He's played so much cricket in Sri Lanka too, the first-class cricket, so it's the turning tracks that he would have been on. So much so that he himself fancied a bowling a couple of times. And you realize he gets a leading edge like that and finds himself back in the pavilion. It's a funny game, Maus.
Well done. Good one, boys, good one. Come on, fellas, come on, fellas, come on, fellas.
Ashar Mehdi won the toss, of course, opted to bat first.
Nice bowling, Asad,
Nice
nice
surprise.
bowling.
I think that will be a trend going forward throughout the weekend. This is going to be runs, though. Past that man at square leg. Must be a single, though. They've actually blocked those boundary scoring options pretty well, the Hurricanes. Remember, the Blasters got up to 55 in the first 6 overs. Since then, they've kept it extremely tight. They've taken 3 wickets since that 6th over. And they've marched back into this game. Just 16 runs conceded since the 6th over.
The momentum changed after the power play restrictions ended. And what's been excellent to watch from Houston Hurricanes is the fact that once they've got a wicket, they've always been persistent, bowling in the right areas to try and pick up another and then another.
Nice bowling, nice bowling.
No breathing space allowed for Chicago. Yes. Chicago Blasters need a partnership at this moment.
On the track.
Well done.
Not a bad option from Arjun Reddy, trying to mitigate, especially would have seen the extra bit of turn that Shafiq is getting, trying to come down the track and be close to the pitch of the ball. End of 10, the halfway stage. Game well balanced at this stage, 72 for 3.
Hey, skipper. Skip. Let's look busy, guys. Come on. Try to make up at least one of these overs.
So already 6 options used for
Ball 2, right?
the Houston Hurricanes. Usman Rafiq, the captain, he's shuffled his options. He has 2. Trump has got 2 dangerous overs. He's going to bowl his 3rd now, but Ashley Nurse as well. So definitely a much improved performance for the Houston Hurricanes.
The captains decided to go ahead with Trump. And this is why. Might be wide, that's all right. The batter has to walk. Oh, it's been a very, very short save for the young Arjun. Good thinking from Saklain, wonderful collect. And before he could say Jack Robinson, the bails were whipped off.
Saklain Haider, lightning quick behind the stumps. Down the leg side to the seam of Trump. Always angling the ball down. But wow, how fast was he to just whip off the bails in the second that Reddy lifted his back foot, just slided out the crease. And sometimes you forget a seamer on that the keeper's up to the stumps. He knew it right away. This is really good stuff from the Hurricanes, who have marched back into this game. Reddy gone for 2. All of a sudden, wickets tumbling, 72 for 4.
Well, there's nobody pad up. Let's go, let's be hungry. Come, boys, come, boys.
Well, there we go. Bit of disorganization because wickets all of a sudden. Suhas, after the first 6 overs, the Blasters would have thought, well, maybe even 180, 200 on the cards. This game of cricket, we know the game of glorious uncertainties. So fast changing, so fast paced. And of course, it's fast like our cards at Sunoco. Getting some inspiration. The Houston Hurricanes, they've marched back into this.
Lack of partnerships is what's troubling now the Chicago Blasters. It's been troubling them for a while now. Desperate for partnership as Waqas walks in. They need a period of calm here, the men in pink, Chicago Blasters. Trump, he's quite content picking up wickets. That's one wide delivery that he wouldn't mind at all.
He's now got 3. It's been a master stroke by Usman Rafiq. And also, not only will that have an effect on Matthew Trump, but other young players around this team. You mentioned Hassan Rashid, the tall fast bowler who played last weekend, not in the 11 today, but young players in this Hurricanes team will watch that decision by Rafiq, even after 2 expensive overs from Matthew Trump. It's why they drafted him. He backed his bowlers. He's a really good leader on and off the field, Usman Rafiq, and he's a big reason why the Hurricanes have had so much success getting to the playoffs last year, hoping to go 2 steps further and win it all this year.
Brings so much experience to the plate. Usman has played at the highest level.
Where do you go from here, Suhas, in terms of the Blasters? You've already all of a sudden lost 4 wickets for just 17 runs. After such a promising start. Likes that shot, didn't execute. Mohamed Waqas. How do you get back into this game?
A partnership, and that could be in the next 3 overs where you have a period of calm. It's all right if runs are not flowing, but believe that you have the batting prowess to get to a good total towards the end. Waqas needs to stick there, try and look for singles, nurdle too if possible, and not go for the big shots as of now.
Speaking of, he goes for the big shot, but unfortunately just falls short of Mohamed Ilyas, fortunately for the Hurricanes. But boy, a 5th wicket goes down there. That would have been serious problems for the Chicago Blasters team. Why they should also be optimistic, Suhas, is the fact that they've got Mohit Patel, who has shown his all-round ability. Even last weekend, finishing the innings off, they didn't get him over the line, but he got a start. So that firepower is still to come. Almost carrying to Mohamed Ilyas.
Mohit Patel needs that launch pad, doesn't he? That single was a slightly afterthought, and hence half an opportunity at the non-striker's end. This game's being played with a sense of friendly fire switched on.
Asad Shafiq, always animated, so electric in the field. It's what I love to see, because he's a 36-year-old, not the youngest by any means, but he's come in, shown his veteran experience, and just to have him, a man that has that amount of experience, so many countless years at the highest level for Pakistan. Expect to see him also be a big part with the bat in hand as well for this Hurricanes team, especially as this minor league progresses.
Nice bowling, Matthew. Nice bowling, Matthew. Come on, fellas.
77 test matches for Usman, sorry, not Usman Rafiq, for Asad Shafiq. And that will do, you think, for the likes of Trump, Hassan Rashid, some of the other younger players, even Munib Yasat at the top of the order, who got 95 last week, just to have someone like a Shafiq to speak to every weekend and learn from, that will help his game a lot as well.
It's one of the better things about this tournament, once again. Youngsters rubbing shoulders with the legends. He's got to go back because he missed a beat there. Such good rhythm that Trump is in. Doesn't want any distractions. Yes, when you're rubbing shoulders with the best in the business, you learn a lot.
Hurricanes won't mind this too much, knowing that they still have 2 overs from Ilyas, 2 from Nurse, 2 from Rafiq. Their main wicket-taking options. You can see all of a sudden the body language has changed. Another really good over from Matthew Trump. Gets a crucial wicket, end of 11, 77 for 4. Of course, all the action has been fantastic over the last 2 weeks. Wouldn't be possible without our friends at Toyota carrying the game to that global reach. Such a household name, a big brand like Toyota. Having them involved in the minor league, well, it's done wonders for the league both years. Expect huge things to come next decade or so. Fruitful partnership. Shafiq will continue with his off spin. Very simple, but it's what you get from great players. Keep it very basic.
Way! Very well bowled, very well bowled. Nice bowling, nice bowling.
He's got to be the sponge to absorb pressure over here.
Great bowling, great bowling.
You could see that they're applying more pressure, Houston Hurricanes, by cutting the singles off.
Yeah, interesting to see how this sun peeking out through the clouds. We had overcast conditions, how that affects sort of this surface. Had to look at the deck beforehand. Very dark because of the water that is underneath. You had rain the last 2 days, some moisture as well, trying to keep it to last the 4 days, this long weekend of the minor league.
Only one, only one.
So definitely on the slower side, will spin as the tournament progresses in the next couple of days.
And it is going to make this tournament even more fun. So many spinners are flying in as well from different areas of the country.
Yourself.
This is good bowling. I'll give you a small secret. Had a small pop over to the nets of the Houston Hurricanes during the week. I saw Asad Shafiq bowling. He gave me a little hint that he would be featuring with the ball in hand in this game. Boy, has he not only featured, he's performed as well.
Only one.
The trap, but there is that long on, long off in place. Just be another single, reliable option for his team. So what you expect from your experience, your marquee players.
And stepping up at the right time too. The team needs them the most. Needs to get underway in this tournament.
Bit of indecision. I think if you ask Usman Rafiq ahead of this game if he would have taken maybe a wicket and 5 runs conceded from 2 Asad Shafiq overs, the part-time bowler, I think he would bite your hand off. Suhas. This one is short though. And this should get into the boundary. It does. Matthew Tromp is quick, but not quick enough. And it spoils such a good over for Asad Shafiq. Things in the right direction for the Blasters with that boundary. 84 for 4.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले। हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
My son, he's so soft-spoken. Everyone says he's so good-looking, and he never forgets to call.
Hi, Mom.
Born for your true self. The 2022 Tundra. Toyota. Let's go places.
A true dream start for Matthew Tromp, the youngster from Gauteng. So happy to see young stars on this side of the world. Very far from his home in South Africa, but been excellent to see how he's performed, how he's come back as well. Very expensive in that Mustangs game, but 3 wickets, just 13 runs in his first 2 overs. This one is in the air. There is a man there, but he'll have to watch it sail way over his head. It's the first maximum of the day, and they've missed out on that, the Blasters. Much more of that needed.
Risky, yes, but he backed himself. Tromp was pleading, get underneath this one, my friend. But as soon as it was struck, it had enough fuel. Not really no chance for the fielder in the deep. Tried his best there, Ilyas.
Sometimes the best form of attack is counter-attack. And they're not too worried about how many wickets have fallen. Mohamed Waqas seems like that no-nonsense type player. Shown that intent to attack on a couple of occasions previously, so finally gets one out the middle and it travels the distance. Much better line. Does well, Saqlain Haider could have easily been some more overthrows. Have to just keep it together at this stage, the Hurricanes. Yes, you've taken 4 wickets in quick succession, but with the game now pretty much hanging in the balance, have to stay locked in. You know you're in a good position ahead of the game, you could probably say.
It's important that they don't become lenient here. No complacency can set in. This game can change very quickly. Tromp needs to come back now. It's been a while since he's been treated that way. First ball 6.
He was quick, but not quick enough. Saqlain Haider, one of the best glove men in this tournament. It's going to be a big tournament for the likes of Matthew Tromp and others. You mentioned some of those absences, especially to the seam attack. Ali Khan away on US national duty. Nasser Jamali, who's made the transfer over to the Dallas Mustangs. So, especially in terms of the seam attack, something that the Hurricanes have relied on so often throughout the minor league season in 2021. They're going to have to be without and have to develop new young talent. Run out chance, but clearly back home in the end. But that's hit well, timed really well, and even with a cover in the deep, has no chance. This is a big over for the Chicago Blasters. Already 10 has come from it, and more pending.
A terrific stuff. Adjusting to the length so very well now. It should take the bowler on, who's picked up the most wickets. Just tells you that this is positive batting indeed. And that was there to be hit too.
Very well done, very well done. Ow!
How close was that to the off stump? Just
Very well done, great
being a lot
bowling.
fuller, Matthew Trump. Using that height, I want to see him use it a bit more. Just vary that length a bit more and cause some challenge for these two batters. He's done well to pick up 3. Has to close out the spell well.
Now for every poor delivery, Trump has bowled an excellent one. It's just that he's interspersed those wonderful deliveries. If you can get these more, will always keep the batter in trouble. Oh, lovely delivery indeed. Just don't enough.
Very well done, very well done, very well done. Good finish, good finish.
So that will end the over with a dot at the end of 13. 94 for 4.
Hurry up, guys, hurry up.
Thanks, guys.
We are late, Uncle. Ampish, we are late. 1 hour. Yeah.
Come on, let me go, guys.
Hurry up, guys, hurry up, guys. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up.
Well, Asad Shafiq, if you're now joining us, you're seeing correctly. The former Pakistan international bowling in this 2022 Minor League Cricket Championship presented by Sunoco. Not only has he's bowled extremely well for his team. Just conceding the 9 runs in his 2 overs. Also picking up a wicket.
Yourself.
I'll tell you why, Suhas, it's even more significant to see Asad Shafiq bowl in this game. Last weekend, they had a huge setback losing Kartik Gaitapalli, who took the most wickets for this team. He's out with a wrist injury, probably indefinitely. So they've got to pick up that slack. He's a left-arm spinner. They need to find another option, and Asad Shafiq could very well be that person.
Wow!
Almost had a second right there.
So it's important that Asad doesn't, that the absence of Kartik Gaitapalli be felt. He's one of the prime bowlers indeed. And he's one such talent that the world looks forward to seeing more as well. Kartik, may he get well very soon.
Like that option coming down the track, doesn't get the execution to beat extra cover, but it's a good intent. All of a sudden, this partnership beginning to develop. Fruitful one so far, but have to kick on, have to bat at least to the 15th over for the likes of Mohit Patel and others to come. Now we're at 21. And as I say that, stumps rocked back. Shafiq has got a second. This is a masterclass from the part-time off spinner. He's looking far from anything part-time today. Crucial bowling spell, and they lose their 5th, the Blasters.
It's a huge wicket indeed. Mehdi is walking back. Wanted to pull it away, but didn't do so to perfection. Missed it completely. Just enough turn, slightly slower. Asad knew that he's got his man.
Batsman in, fellas. Batsman here.
So the captain, Mehdi's gone. Short stay at the crease. The partnership just was developing between these two. He's gone for 8. Score now 94 for 5. Have to say, Suhas, typical commentator's curse, just mentioning how well the partnership is developing. 21 between the two. And of course, he then goes and plays that shot. Was it there, though, to be hit? Pretty short delivery.
I think his eyes went agog as soon as he saw that the ball was short. What was troublesome there was the fact that the ball didn't arrive and he'd gone through with the shot, didn't read the pace in it.
The first game of the tournament for Umair Mir. In for his bowling exploits, but he's got a job to do with the bat in hand. Still no Mohit Patel, pretty surprising. Clearly they rely and know how dangerous he is with his power hitting. keep pushing him down the order, looking for that big finish.
किसको? थोड़ा और? सही है. Come on, fellas! Come on, fellas!
Super over wicket and 4 dot deliveries
Come on,
from
boys!
Asad Shafiq.
Need some voices, boys!
See there, probably wasn't the shortest, slight movement off the surface and crashes into middle. Again, looking to cut this maiden wicket over for Asad Shafiq, showing his experience. Excellent stuff by the Hurricanes, 94 for 5 after 14.
Hurry up, boys! Hurry up, boys!
6 bowlers used so far. 2 of them amongst wickets. Matthew Tromp picks up the bowler there with 3 wickets. He's bowled out for his 4 overs, 23 runs given away. Is an excellent figure indeed. Asad Shafiq banished the words part-time is all I can say. 3 overs, 9 runs and 2 important wickets. It's unreal economy of 3. Just tells you that he's the one who's kept them in the game. Ashley Nurse now inherits a better scorecard as far as he's concerned. He can bowl a little more freely.
I am curious though now with the absence of Gaetapalli, who usually bowls 1 or 2 overs in the power play. If this is a model we see from Usman Rafiq and the Hurricanes going forward, I think it's underrated the importance of those first 6 overs in T20 cricket. You get off to a 70 or 80 run start, you pretty much set yourself up for not only the first innings but for the game momentum-wise. Trying to counter that, you go to probably one of the most economical bowlers to ever come out the West Indies in white ball cricket. Because of things like that. Very full delivery from Nurse. All of a sudden now you can see much quicker through the air. Very hard to score from. So he's a meticulous planner, Ashley Nurse.
Now with more protection in the deep as well, he's allowed to bowl the way that he usually does. A little bit of drift, a little bit of air. Still cannot get over that catch of Callum McLeod, if you remember, back in 2016. What a fantastic return catch that was from Ashley Nurse. That's when he announced to the world that here comes a good fielder too. And would you agree, Nikhil, a bowler is the best fielder of his own bowling?
But he should be, especially Ashley Nurse, who cares so much about his figures, likes to be economical. Mentioned less than 5.5 runs per over throughout his 54 one-day internationals. So many games at the highest level in terms of T20 cricket as well. You would think about the CPL, he would have played in the global T20 as well. So big revelation to have in Houston. Showed his all-round expertise before he left for the Caribbean Premier League in 2021. You can see hanging the ball on that good length. All of a sudden, batters can't score. Pressure on, pressure mounting. Just 1 run from the first 2 deliveries. Just had a maiden wicket. This is good T20 cricket.
Mohammad Mir is feeling a little itchy to get to the other end as well.
Really should have been stopped. Be disappointed that pressure released. Bowling well so far, the Houston Hurricanes, especially given the start that the Blasters had. Bit of hint of indecision and doubt could have set in, especially given the fact that the Hurricanes were in a golden position to win their first game. 204 on the board, and then it was chased down in 19.1 overs by the Mustangs, one of the strongest teams in this tournament.
Yeah, it would have been a big learning in itself. 204 on many days is a good enough total.
I'll show you how beautiful the game is. Last season, Suhas, the Hurricanes beat the Mustangs on the final delivery. This season, in another close one, didn't go to the final ball, but the Mustangs being able to pick up the win. So that's cricket. 1 year is yours, the next is gone. Tremendous over from Ashley Nurse. Just goes for 3 runs. End of 15, 97 for 5.
Hurry up, guys!
What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले।
हाँ, तेरे घर लाने का।
back at Prairie View Cricket Complex, of course, where we have second weekend of premium coverage coming to you on Willow TV and the MLC Network. Every weekend, going around the country to different spots, providing this premium coverage. Usman Rafiq will come into the attack. 5 overs remain. Suhas, put on your thinking cap. If you are Mehidy, the captain, what score, 97.5, are you looking for?
With 5 wickets in hand and Mohit yet to feature, I'd say I'd take anywhere about 155. It should be a good total on a track which you've seen that is assisting spinners a little bit more.
I can tell you, Mohit Patel must be feeling like Andre Russell at the moment. The amount of expectation you put on the poor man's shoulders. He better come out firing like a Toyota Tundra, because he can definitely hit the ball a long way. We've seen him previously, took 10 wickets last year as well, so he'll feature with the ball in hand. Of course, our good friend Nate Hayes at the MLC Network, he made some bold predictions. Munir Chowdhury, 95 last week. Can he follow it up this weekend?
Yeah.
But definitely for Munib, Ramiz Raja and others batting for the Hurricanes, it'll help if they're only chasing a score less than 140, which you think at this stage, given the bowling and the overs left, could very well be.
Oh, much better delivery as well. Just that opens the face of the bat. A little bit of a fumble from Trump, but that's all right.
One thing I want to pick your brain on, though, is the differences between the synthetic surface and the actual turf surfaces. This Hurricanes team last weekend against the Mustangs would have played on a synthetic matting. Now they transition to the actual pitch. It's something that a lot of teams in this minor league battle with. What is the impact of that, you know, to some of the players, especially like Shafiq and Nurse, who have probably never played cricket on that synthetic matting before coming to the US?
It's all about adjustment, isn't it? In cricket, it's all about adjustment, surface being one of those things. As far as the turf wicket is concerned, you've seen that it grips a little bit more. The turn, the pace at which the ball comes to you is a little different. And there's always the, well, you could see those cracks as well that will open up eventually. Wanted to use his feet to access the gap a little better. No run granted. Yes, the cracks will also open up as it gets baked and you get more sunlight on that one. And that is tough for you. There'll be inaccuracies. You need technical prowess. Oh, very good stop. Very good stop indeed. He's saved at least a couple of runs, if not more. Now coming back to the surface, Doc. So it is that inaccuracies that you see. The batter has to ensure that it's always on top of. With synthetic, well, it comes onto the bat nicely. You can trust the bounce a little bit better as well.
Almost plucked out of the air by Usman Rafiq. Good fielder, good catcher. I can tell you though, I've seen some real challenging synthetic surfaces in this country in my experiences watching cricket. So that's another aspect and another interesting factor to consider in this 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship. End of 16, the 100 comes up. Just 3 from the over, 100 for 5.
Hurry up guys, hurry up guys, hurry up guys.
Can I get bowling first? Just 4 overs remain. We've kept this Chicago Blasters team pretty much in check. It'll be so important for both of these teams. Remember, both yet to pick up a win in this minor league championship. And they'll be both on the first day of this long weekend, be looking to start things in the right footing and get that 1 win under their belt. Just to release some of the pressure, Mohamed Ilyas is going to come back into the attack. They've got 2 overs up front with the new ball.
A different role this time around. Has to get into the death bowling mode. The first 2 overs, try to pick up a wicket. I won't be surprised if these 2 overs, it's about trying to string as many dot deliveries as possible so that the batter eventually makes the mistake. He's got a very long run up too. Wants to do justice to the pace at which he delivers the ball. Ilyas, extremely experienced again.
Yeah, watched him, as I said earlier, in January of this year, playing for the Karachi Kings in the PSL before he had that horrendous shoulder injury that put him out of the tournament. But it was really cool to see him, you know, under the captaincy of Babar Azam and against such quality batters in that PSL. Seeing him flourish. So this tournament will be sort of that getting back into rhythm for him, coming off of that big shoulder injury, and we hope he recovers very soon and can have a fruitful season in terms of wickets for the Hurricanes. They need him desperately with no Ali Khan.
It's a lovely channel to be bowling, isn't it? Usman's not really happy. He wants to see that backup arrive too, just in case he wants to get the throw in. Now he's remapping his run up now.
Of course, if you're now joining us, this 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship presented by Sunoco. Some of our other sponsors as well, Toyota, DAFA News, wouldn't be possible without them. But wow, has it been a treat to have cricket back in the USA for the second season. This one's going to be much bigger and better. 27 teams all competing around the country. Pace off delivery and just be a single, but you won't mind those ones too much. Long weekend, you got action coming on Saturday, Sunday, and of course, with the holiday, July 4th on Monday. Even action on Monday as well here at Prairie View. How much are you looking forward to that?
I'm looking forward to an action-packed weekend of cricket. Nothing more, and there isn't a better way of spending your weekend. I'll tell you what, if you're a connoisseur of cricket, you got to be here in Texas Grand Prairie View. Well, what do you think about this surface? Is it going to change in the next 4 games or no?
Let me tell you what I think about this sun. Extremely hot, Suhas. These conditions, man. Imagine us in the box. What about these guys out in the middle? They must be suffering sweltering heat over 100 degrees.
Yeah, the heat is definitely there. It's one of those things as a cricketer that you learn to battle.
This one is big, and it's gonna go well over the boundary. Stand and deliver stuff from Waqas. He's watched for a long time, but he's shown that attacking intent. And finally gets one out the middle. He's looked for that for a long time. Ilyas has got to be much fuller.
He's hit it as if he's been waiting for this delivery for ages. Was supposed to be a surprise factor, the short ball, but he's just walked into it, and he knew he'd struck it so well that it was going to be 6 from the moment it left the bat.
That's a big result for the Blasters because pressure was just getting to them. Good sense in the last couple of overs. Runs had really dried up. 6 runs scored in the last 2 overs. They needed that maximum. Have to try to swing this pendulum back in their favor. Much better at the toes. 1-2 would just be a single. Yeah, in terms of the surface though, it's a good question you asked and you pose. 4 days of cricket, but I've heard actually that they're going to be using the surface on the far left of the ground. That one has a lot of green grass, so should hold together a lot more. But we have seen Prairie View Cricket Complex, it does spin early on, which we saw the likes of Asad Shafiq and others get that bit of purchase. But as the cricket goes on, surfaces get a bit more tired. Could see a lot of that spin come into play.
It's day 1, and we're already seeing. We've already seen the spinners be so successful. Now with the change-ups, the pace is also getting into the act.
Yeah, all 6 of these fields here at this facility will be used at the Prairie View Cricket Complex. So many of the teams, 15 of them coming here to Houston for this long weekend. And I love the initiative as well. Let me just comment on that. Minor League bringing more teams that would be used to playing on those synthetic surfaces to Prairie View means that they get exposure on genuine turf surfaces, which obviously is what you play international cricket on. So it's exposing young cricketers to playing on the real thing. It's a great idea and initiative executed by the minor league.
There can't be a better simulation.
Well cut off at point.
But there can't be a better simulation, Nikhil, when you have such a huge plan in place, where you look at this as a stepping stone to feed good talent at the international level for USA. Get them to play the turf wickets. It's a lovely collect. Would have been 4 otherwise. Went off the bat. The ping of the bat was so good to hear.
110 for 5. Well, in these last 3 overs, so important that this team gets up to something respectable. Suhas, you think 110 for 5, still 5 wickets in hand, some power still to come. You'll be looking at least at 140. It is a good batting track though, especially now with the sun peeking out. Would have had some time to bake and probably dry out some more. They do have a lot of moisture. You look at the color of that surface, very dark. It tells you with the rains around, a lot of moisture underneath. So that probably is why the Hurricanes won't mind this too much. Batting second. Stop by Ashley Nurse. Diving stop by the man extra cover.
It's important that the initial part of the over, the bowler gets as much as momentum as possible, because that is when the batters will also come after him more. Wonderful stop indeed from Ashley Nurse.
Goes through the fielder, and it's going to be runs. Through the point fielder, got a hand on it to slow it up, but it will roll into the boundary. And those are costly misses that you can't afford to give away. Don't let the opposition back into this game.
Yeah, one moment of brilliance on the field. Not so much in the next ready instance. Usman's having a mixed bag as far as talking about fielders is concerned. And this one had to be stopped.
Just dived over it, and that will hurt the Hurricanes, especially after keeping the pressure on so well in the last couple of overs. Remember, this was the team, if you're now joining us, Blasters were 55 for none after the first 6. After 10 overs, they were 72. So they got to a decent position even though they lost the 3 wickets. Since then, though, it's been all the Houston Hurricanes.
Imagine cruising to 55 and to put as many thereafter. You've lost half your side.
But this is over cover. In the gap as well. Work to be done by Mohamed Ilyas. I think that part of the outfield much slower. Asad Shafiq at cover does well to keep it in just 2.
It's a very good point that you brought up here, Nikhil. Areas of the ground which have different kinds of outfield. One's lightning quick, one where you don't get value for your runs. I think as a batter, you've got to pick and choose the areas in which you hit as far as the outfield's concerned, as well as much as the field placement itself.
Wow! Really good delivery again from Rafiq. So you can tell those balls on a good length, especially from the spinners, are causing that bit of extra difficulty with the balls doing a bit.
And I'll tell you what, when the spinners are bowling wide as well, a wide is not considered an innocuous delivery. You could see him just follow the batter this time. It's a lack of turn which has troubled the batter.
Big shot. Just go to the man though, just trickle to him, so you can see a clear change in intent. Pretty much expected at this stage, but definitely it's been good execution of plans. Just the 1 boundary in the over. 7 from it, 117 for 5.
Yeah, excellent start by Awais and Shahir, but then they gave it away there. Chicago Blasters, a slump in the middle order. Fahad went early, so did Arjun. Ashar Mehdi's 8 did add some momentum. Mohammad Waqas and Umar Mir, men in the middle who are creating that launch pad, now need to go big. 6 bowlers used so far, and 2 of them been extremely successful. Matthew Troms bowled out with his 4 overs, picked up 3 wickets. Asad Shafiq's got 1 more over up his sleeve.
Mohamed Ilyas will bowl his final over. Has been much more impressive in this second game for the Hurricanes, and pretty much expected given the fact that he would have played on that synthetic surface against the Mustangs. So hard for players that are used to playing on turf to adapt so quickly. Definitely he's looked much more of his own, much more comfortable at Prairie View. That's comfort, that's off stump, it's gone, and it's a wicket for Mohamed Ilyas. Gives him the send-off as well. This is what you expect from your senior marquee players.
Once again, a great start to the over. As far as Houston Hurricanes are concerned, that'll give them a lot of momentum.
Just try to get it done, man.
Now he's played it on, chopped it onto the off stump, and by the time he'd heard the death rattle and looked back, one of them was lying dead. Ilyas has given him a quiet word.
Big wicket for the Hurricanes, starting the 19th over. And the 6th wicket goes down for the Blasters. Mayer struggled, just 10 for him. 117 now for 6. So the Hurricanes, well, they've just kept the pressure on right from that initial power play. They've been able to ensure that they remain in this game. Wickets have helped. Mohamed Elias, well, he's been excellent. Finally, he picks up a wicket that he probably deserved. Zia Ul Haq Mohamed comes to the middle. Interesting number on the back of his shirt. That's the new trends of today, Suhas.
I think it just says decipher if you can.
Loud appeal, but Elias is begging the umpire, and he's given first delivery for Zia Ul Haq Mohamed. Is walking back. It's 2-2 for Mohamed Elias. This is pace bowling at its best from the Pakistani international.
He's keeping it straight. He's keeping it simple. I think that's the plan. Keep it wicket to wicket now. But Mr. Pretty straight delivery. Wanted to be cheeky. First ball is a sitting duck. No hesitations from the umpire to raise a dreaded finger.
He had a long think about it, the umpire. Came a long way across, but in the end, Rushin Samuels gives him. So just one delivery for Zia Ul Haq. Another wicket goes down now. The Hurricanes well on top. 117 for 6. 7, correction. Look at that wicket for Mohamed Elias and the Hurricanes. That one especially, you can see Suhas the seam position. It's what he's so good at. Gets the ball to seam in, but also angles the ball in to the right-hander. Seen him actually at the PSL in Pakistan, even at the first-class level, have that ability to seam the ball in, but then get it to just nip away. It makes it such a challenge. He really gave Liam Livingston some problems in the PSL with that type of delivery.
And Nikhil, what do you think about the shot selection? First ball, I understand they wanted to hit the gap behind square, but up against Elias, who's bowling with such good rhythm and pace. Perhaps would he have been better served with a straight batted stroke?
Can't fault the Lord or batter. He wants to hit everything at the park.
On a hat-trick.
Oh, crashing into the stumps. It's going to be a team hat-trick. He's going to be run out. Where was he going? I think he had to get back the strike, Mohamed Waqas, but he's run out Mohit Patel. It's 3 wickets and 3 balls for the Houston Hurricanes. Not a hat-trick for Elias, but a team hat-trick. And not real great thinking if you're the Blasters.
There is another threat neutralized. Mohit sets off running. Soon realizes that he has a lot of ground to cover, and these 22 yards will look like 100 suddenly. It's good thinking from Elias as well. In the heat of the moment, didn't throw the ball. Ensure that he reaches all the way to the stumps and kisses the bails. Mohit Patel goes without troubling the scorers. A huge moment in this game. That's about 20 runs the difference for you.
There's your Andrew Russell walking back. But in all fairness to him, I don't think it was so much him. I think it was more Mohamed Waqas. He was the one taking off. But it's not even the last over. You still have 9 legal deliveries remaining. You don't need to take that early risk. Great cricket from the Blasters. That's good bowling. Even though, yes, it was a full toss in the end, you can see the intention from Mohamed Elias. He's looking for the Yorker, looking for wickets.
Now they're in danger of being bundled out here, the Chicago Blasters. 118 for 8. 4 balls in this over so far.
Just a little bit.
3 of them have yielded wickets in just a single. What an excellent over this is turning out to be for the Houston Hurricanes.
I mentioned Mohamed Elias needs to have a huge impact for this Hurricanes. A lot on his shoulders, leading the seam attack with big absences and very inexperienced players coming in and out of the team. He has to have a big season for the Hurricanes. It's why they've gone on and got him. Man coming in with his experience from Pakistan, playing in the PSL, one of the best cricket leagues in the world. Another full delivery and just fired in. Saqlain Haider has been impeccable behind the stumps.
No, it's been terrific also when he's been called up to the stumps. Love the counter sign with the bowler as well. He's telling where exactly is the batter standing on a regular basis. Sometimes a wide, which is supposed to be in an awkward delivery, is not so much, because Saq Layne looks at it as a run-out opportunity, a stumped opportunity. Stumping opportunity there as well. And he's standing up to the stumps, and not so much this time around. And won't be surprised if he takes the glove off as well for the final over, because there might be some throwing to do for the keeper, Saq Layne.
Well, a great Yorker, and it's going to be another run out. Would you believe it? No, he won't. He just gets home in the end. At one stage, though, Mohamed Waqas looking for the strike. Looked like he was just going to give it away again. End of an eventful over. 3 wickets fall. 118 for 8.
What if I tell you the easiest way to maximize your tax savings, get bookkeeping done, and having a better financial position in the market is to call 1-800-250-8596. So what are you waiting for? Just pick up the phone and call us now.
Well, just 21 runs. 3 wickets fall for the Blasters in the last 4 overs. And since the 15th over, when really things should have been increasing in terms of the run rate, etc., they've gone the opposite direction.
That's a two-edged sword, isn't it? The launch pad is either created or what's existing is dismantled. Nurse to bowl the final.
Yeah, and this is where Ashley Nurse shows his versatility, his value. This was the last delivery of the last over. Could have easily been another run out. He did well to get to the stump, Mohamed Ilyas. There it is, direct hit. Would have been gone by a long way. Thought he actually got much closer to the stump, Mohamed Ilyas, but didn't in the end. So a big let off for the Blasters. Could have been 4 wickets in the penultimate over. I like this though. I like how they've used Ashley Nurse much better in terms of Usman Rafiq and his planning. The last game, they just, I think, finished this quarter of overs too early. When the pressure was on in the last 3 overs, they didn't have his reliable shoulders to go to. So I like this option of keeping 1 for him in the death. This is aerial. But a man in the deep, Ramiz Raja, is a good catcher, and it drops it over the boundary. And really should have been taken, you think. It's not Ramiz Raja, it's Ninad Nimbalkar at long off.
Usually one of the best fielders you'd ever get to see, Ninad. The boundary awareness not there this time. Didn't time the jump to perfection either. Could he have been better served with 2 hands?
But this one, no one has a chance of catching. That's brute force. And it's 2 and 2. Ashley Nurse flighting this one straight as an arrow. And it's 12 from the first 2 deliveries. Could we have a final twist to the tail?
Handy runs these reach the 130 psychological mark. The Chicago Blasters. 12 runs of the first 2. Exactly what the doctor ordered. For the men in pink, Chicago Blasters, this time no fielder in equation.
And even with that long on and long off, I'm surprised Nurse has gone to that full length. Tends to be very short and use sort of those square boundaries to his advantage. Wishful again, this time so quick. Speared into the pad, but he'll be disgusted with himself in those first 2 deliveries. The first one, you could argue, probably could have been taken. Just rubbing salt in the wounds. Just goes over all the way for 6 a second, so 12 from the first 3. Swing again. They opting not to take the single, probably smart in this case.
All right, Nikhil, 130 reach with 2 wickets in hand for Chicago Blasters. Do you think the 140 still within reach if these 2 have an appointment with the boundary rope?
Full again. And this time a man in the deep. Ilyas, safe hands, takes the catch. Ashley Nurse finally picks up his man. Cricket, the game of glorious uncertainties, full toss. Ends what was a glorious cameo though from Mohamed Waqas, 38 from 27. But in the end, just probably 1 too many. Just holds out in the deep.
Mohamed Waqas, given an option, would have put this beyond the rope 9 out of 10 times. A full toss, couldn't have asked for anything better. But lands straight in the hands of Ilyas as Waqas does not get the elevation this time around. A magnificent innings has come to an end. The cameo that he'll be so proud of has put his team in a place where they can call, well, we are well within reach of a respectable total. 38 of 28, where it matters the most. Mohammad Waqas departs.
So Nurse, after being struck for 2 maximums, comes back well into the equation, takes the wicket, a couple of dot deliveries as well. So this is good stuff from your experienced veteran. But he has to finish well. Goes full. Very full. And it's going to be a run out, so they are going to be bowled out. The Chicago Blasters, and searching for every last run. This has been a well put together all-round bowling performance by the Hurricanes to restrict the Blasters to 130 in their 20 overs. But it's still something for their bowlers to bowl at and defend.
It's not a very daunting total, but a tricky one nonetheless. We expected a little more. Chicago Blasters going for that run towards the end where there wasn't any and getting bowled out. How much will that impact the net run rate column? I understand that they get to get started with the first column of the points table, let alone the last column, but sometimes in a tournament like this, it does get back to bite you.
Usman Rafiq and his men will be very happy with how they've gone about, especially being under the pump in the first 6 overs. The Blasters, well, just weren't able to build any partnerships throughout that batting performance. A few starts here and there. Awais Zia at the top of the order, again getting a good start. Mohammad Waqas somehow fighting his way and single-handedly carrying his team to 130 in 20 overs.
Yeah, the first 6 overs, they were bludgeoned for all over the park. Matthew Tromp, 3 wickets, then came up with excellent figures of 4 overs 23, and Azad Shafiq picked up 2 important wickets as well. Ashley Nurse towards the end ensured that he's amongst the wickets too, as Mohammad Ilyas completed good catches and picked up 2 fantastic wickets in his final over. 130 is all that Houston Hurricanes were able to restrict the opposition to. 131 is what Houston Hurricanes would be looking for to put the first points on the board.
Well, there you have it. It's been a pretty eventful first innings and first day of action at the Prairie View Cricket Complex in terms of this second weekend of this 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship. Don't go anywhere, because when we return, we'll have the run chase in just a couple of minutes' time. 6:26 p.m. local time. We'll be back with the run chase. Don't move a muscle.
You're watching the Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship, presented by Sunoco.
Tell him he can get the blower. Even Brooke can do it. Blower will be much easier for him.
I'll call them. I'll ask them to come in then. Okay? Yes. Cool. Yeah, we got to start in 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
Yeah, we're done right here?
Yeah. You can start.
Well, the action resumes at the Prairie View Cricket Complex in Houston, Texas. This 2022 Minor League Cricket Championship just ramping up. So exciting. Of course, this matchup between the Blasters and the Hurricanes. Both teams in search of that first win. But the Hurricanes, after being under the pump early, they were pretty much dominant towards as they progressed throughout the innings. Mohamed Ilyas was able to pick up 2 and really inflicted pressure in that Blasters lineup.
Yeah, it was Tromp who started it off. He took quick wickets. And a fantastic catch by Mohamed Ilyas. Has not only been good with the ball when he is to roll his arm over, but on the field too. Mehdi's wicket was a huge turnaround, as that meant Chicago Blasters were being stopped of the little momentum they were trying to accumulate. And poor shot selection towards the end.
Yeah, this over was probably the critical one. A team hat-trick coming, and then the last over, well, Ashley Nurse went over the boundary a couple of times and came back well to take that wicket. And then the final one, just a run out. So in the end, just getting up to 130, you think those Suhas. We have seen those small totals be kind of tricky for chasing teams, but the Hurricanes are at home. They'll back themselves to get 131.
You got to back their home side to get 131 on a track. They've understood better. Could sense that with the bowling changes that they brought about. The Blasters would be telling themselves 130 is still a good total. Let's make it look like 145. Let's make it swell with some good fielding efforts.
So a lot at stake for these two teams. The Blasters, well, even though they only have 130 runs on the board, we know T20 cricket can be so intense. And all of a sudden, 2 or 3 early wickets in that power play. Against a vulnerable batting lineup. I mentioned this Hurricanes team who has lost a couple of players on the bowling end. Well, in the batting aspect of things, Sushat Modani is one you think about, who's transferred to the Mustangs, but also away with the USA national team. He was a big part of the top order for the Hurricanes. 2 new openers this year in Munib Chowdhury and, of course, Ramiz Raja.
One of them exuberant, one of them experienced. Munib's come up with great numbers, 95 runs. Even though it wasn't for a winning cause, but it was terrific in those 95 runs. That innings of his will be remembered for a long time. And of course, a calming effect at the other end with Ramiz Raza Jr., who's seen it all. He's traveled with the Pakistan Test team as well. And someone who's ever willing to help a youngster out, not just to his side, but he's been a sounding board and a good mentor for young cricketers all around the world.
It's just about ready to get underway here at Prairie View. Remember, the start of plenty of action to come over this next 4 days with the July 4th holiday. You have the Hurricanes in action 4 times. The Silicon Valley Strikers are here as well, the defending champions from 2021. They'll be here and ready for battle. They'll play the Hurricanes as well. That's going to be a pretty interesting game coming to you tomorrow morning right here from Prairie View. So these two teams, well, already had 20 overs. But it's all about the last 20. That's the critical. So these two will want to have a good start in the first 6 overs. Did get off to a flyer last weekend against the Mustangs. Probably the major reason why they were able to get up to 204. 56 for 2 after the first 6 overs last weekend. Rushane Samuels, the standing umpire from Jamaica, now would have transferred over to the United States and standing in a lot of cricket in this side of the world.
Left arm over to you, Rami.
And Anil Pav, another extremely experienced umpire. Anil Pav was having a chat with him just before the game, and I asked him, how does the pitch usually behave over here, and do the umpires do something different when they see the ball turning a little bit more? He said, no, I keep it as simple as possible.
I would hope that they don't do anything different. It's going to be Zia Al-Haq to start things off for the Blasters. Major piece of this puzzle for the Blasters in terms of bowling.
A drive behind is Zia Ul-Haq, someone who thrives with rhythm. And he's known to hit timber more often. Zia Ul-Haq shown that he can hurry the batters. And he's got a lovely wrist indeed. Very strong wrist. Watch out for the one that goes away from the right-hander. It's such a treat to watch. With slip in place, why not? A very good option indeed. Man at point, back to offside field, steaming in is Zia.
First delivery, definitely a decent shout, but clearly the plan will be to attack that off stump. Ramiz Raja, just the one fielder out in the leg side. That's fine leg. So to a bowler like to a batter, sorry, like Ramiz Raja, who got 27 from just 13 deliveries last weekend to start, cannot afford to err in length. He will put you away. But what I have noticed from the Hurricanes in the last 2 seasons now is Ramiz Raja has adopted that role of sort of being the stabilizer of the innings. He can score, we know that, but you expect to see some of those bigger strokes early on by Munib Chowdhury. Should be the first runs off the bat for the Hurricanes, especially given, Suhas, that they're only chasing 130. If you get off to a good power play, last weekend they got to 56 but lost 2 wickets. They get to 50 for 1 or even without loss. All of a sudden, you pretty much have done the bulk of the work in the first 6 overs.
Looking at the surface, if it doesn't deteriorate any longer, I really believe that 131 is a matter of 2 good partnerships.
Well, on any surface, really, partnerships in T20 cricket, you get 2 big partnerships maybe worth 50 runs. A couple others contribute here and there, just so you get to 160. We've seen that a couple of times in this 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship by those successful teams, the Mustangs, the Strikers, the Grizzlies, the unbeaten teams in this tournament. So it's something, a page for these to take, these 2 teams especially, to take out of. Bit of variable bounce again to Chowdhury. What a start it was. Dream start for him. 95 for the young man.
Yeah, he set the tournament ablaze. Everybody sat up and took notice of that innings. Now watch as it go and realize it didn't bounce as much as it was expected to, and Zia would have made a mental note of where exactly he pitched it. With that angle, of course, he'll carry it away from the right-hander. He's not attacking the stumps here.
And there it is, attacking the stumps and crashing into the stumps. 1 week you make 95, the next doesn't score. That's cricket. And that's a good delivery from Zia. You just think early wickets get this Blasters team back in this game. That's the way to start.
Zia delivers under pressure. Early wicket has come by, and it's not a conventional way to get a right-hander, but anything that disturbs the stumps, you've got to say, well done.
Well, a rough weekend for Munib Chowdhury. He's gone without scoring after a brilliant 95 last weekend. That's cricket for you sometimes. 1 for 1, the Hurricanes. So a new batter to the middle. This is pressure early on for the Hurricanes. They would have expected, especially given the start from last weekend. What it means though, the experienced Asad Shafiq comes to the middle. Spent some time in the middle last weekend against the Mustangs, Suhas, but just speaking to him and knowing the type of game he has, really found it difficult to adapt on that synthetic surface, which was so hard to predict in terms of how the ball would come through, the length, and just for a player that's played so much cricket in Pakistan on the really only turf, have to adapt quickly. Riding the bounce there, some steep bounce. We've seen pretty much both aspects of things. Some ball that went straight through to the keeper below knee height, now one that's rising above the head.
The surface is showing that it's a little tricky now. We've talked so much about the off-stump awareness. What about the one that bites you from there? The leg stump has gone for a walk.
Well, probably the ideal man in this situation, Asad Shafiq, coming in at this time with his team losing a wicket in the first over. Want a cool, calm, experienced head at the crease. Oh, so good at that flick, but they know it and they've got protection in deep. So he gets underway and off the mark. A really eventful over for the Blasters. Comes to an end at the end of 1, 2 for 1.
Yeah, Ramiz Raza needs to play a mending innings today, and he needs to absorb that 131 in his mind. Now, Asad Shafiq's the one who's walked in because Munib Riyasat. Munib didn't trouble the scorers at all. 95 one day, and the next day you get out for a duck. Nikhil was mentioning that's cricket for you. It's indeed this beautiful sport for you. And the manner in which he got out as well, Nikhil, that's something which would be perturbing him a little.
It would be disappointed to be bowled around his legs, especially to the seamer. Likes to come across that off stump. Pretty big Munib Chowdhury, but in the end, over accommodating and it's gone missing. So Zia Mohammed will come into the attack for
center. Yes, that is center.
I think that is Zia Mohammed Waqas into the attack for the Chicago Blasters from the other end. Asad Shafiq, though, excited to see how he bats, especially on this surface, proper turf pitch, and they do have, interestingly enough, 2 fielders out, and it's not third man or fine leg, they're both square, so it tells you that he's looking to bowl pretty short. It's interesting to see if this is the same field to Ramiz Raja. It is. He has a deep mid-wicket. That's not what you're usually used to seeing in the first 6 overs from your seamer, unless he has that raw pace and is looking to attack using the short ball.
That would be a good ploy indeed. Too early on, when the batters are struggling with the amount of bounce that this pitch has to offer at times.
Don't get me wrong, Suhas, it is a good tactic, but with a man at the pace of Zia Mohammed Waqas, does he really need to have that deep mid-wicket? I just want to see that man in the circle, put some more pressure. I like the line he's bowling outside the off-stump. Maybe have a slip, continue to look for wickets. Just feel he's being wasted in the leg side.
You've gone into a defensive mode too quickly, you feel? But 131, they need to make the game and be a little bit more proactive there. Chicago Blasters, oh, this one hurried on. There are some demons in the pitch, and the batter is trying to exorcise a few.
But if there's one man that knows his conditions well, is Ramiz Raja. Plays here pretty much 4 or 5 times a week, being his home, his hub. Played for this Hurricanes, 2nd season for him in this team. You can see there, that one definitely going back into the right-hander. This time comes down the track, but finds the man, but they come through for the quick single. That's what's important as well. In that first innings, we saw a very good batting display from the openers. They got up to 55, but they ran well between the wickets and put pressure on the fielding team.
Came down the track as well to get a gap better. On that occasion, went straight to the fielder. Didn't hit it from the middle of the bat either.
Almost like a full circle for Asad Shafiq. Someone that has come through the ranks so much in terms of his international test cricket. 77 test matches, 61 internationals, over 100 T20s for the Pakistan international team. We know millions of people compete to make that level. This man, not only has he made it, he's been so successful. Still playing his cricket, still enjoying his cricket. And good to see him in the USA. Bringing some more mileage to this minor league championship. And this one is going to be runs. Gets it well, Shafiq. And it should get his first boundary. He will now. So very strong square is why they protected the square boundaries, but he's been able to pierce the gap because of the lack of pace.
He's picked a good area too. He's picked this area well in advance.
That boundary will end the over. A good end for the Hurricanes. 8 for 1 after 2.
What if I tell you the easiest way to maximize your tax savings, get bookkeeping done, and having a better financial position in the market is to call 1-800-250-8596. So what are you waiting for? Just pick up the phone and call us now.
So a good first over for Zia Al-Haq, picking up that crucial wicket of Munib Chowdhury. They would have planned for him, given they scored at 95, was a top score for the Hurricanes last weekend. That's capital for 1. Get there in the end. So good running, even though they haven't been able to find the boundary. I was mentioning though a full circle for Asad Shafiq. Good running between the wickets by these two. They understand each other very well, both being from Pakistan, and Asad Shafiq always busy and ready to get back on strike. Again, oh, so good, so delicate, and so strong with those wrists. That's going to be another boundary for him, really coming into his own. Such a dangerous player in the power play.
That'll take some retrieving. The bowler knew immediately he's missed his mark there. Elegant and effective, just using the pace. Fielder inside the circle tried his best with that tumble, but the ball evaded him with ease. And in this kind of an outfield, a ball hits so very well, it will fetch 4.
Yeah, what a career this man has had, Asad Shafiq. Still firing, the little man, but so much power. Over 2,000 T20 runs in 102 matches. They missed out on that occasion. Very strong on the offside as well. But I mentioned a full circle for him because playing on those synthetic mattings would bring back a lot of memories for Asad Shafiq. He was first discovered back in 2007 in the Karachi tape ball setup. That's was amazing thing about these Pakistani cricketers. A lot of them come from that tape ball and softball setup. To then play 77 test matches and score over 2,000 T20 runs. Really tremendous career from the 36-year-old who's clearly showing that he's got a lot more left in the tank. Good better bowling though from Zia Al-Haq.
Absolutely, just tells you that the way you transition from tape ball cricket to season ball cricket as well. There are coaches who tell you to maintain your core. It's fine if you maintain, if you're not technically correct, because that's what makes you you at the end of the day. Slower delivery, well negotiated. But that 223 of 350 balls versus Faisalabad is what's written in the annals of history. Whenever you say Asad Shafiq, all around the world, it's that 4-day match that people talk about. Asad Shafiq's innings. He batted for 8 hours. 8 hours just tells you the concentration that this man has. And that's exactly why he's able to adapt to the shorter format of the game as well. Because he did the basics right by grinding it out. Asad Shafiq. Yeah, you said 36 years young. 36 years young he is. You can learn a lot from him. 10 of 9 at the moment, though.
Yeah, classy. Been trying to penetrate that offside field. Shafiq, couple of times. It's good bowling, though. After that first delivery, went for a boundary. Ends a decent over from Zia Al-Haq. Just a couple of runs from it. The boundary and a single. 5 from it, 13 for 1.
Ramiz Raza is playing the extra pair of hands that Asad Shafiq needs at the moment. A run ball 10 for Asad. Munib Riyasat Chowdhury went without troubling the scorers, and that's exactly why Ramiz Raza has gone into a shell as well a little to provide stability and not provide the flashy fireworks that one needs up top. He understands that 131 is a tameable total, and one way to get there is by proper batting and not anything flashy at all. 3 of 6 at the moment for a man who usually deals in boundaries.
Yeah, work to be done, but Ramiz Raja, very cool, experienced, and will play the situation well. Knows that they've lost an early wicket. He doesn't need to be too attacking, can find the gaps in these first 6. And again, this deep mid-wicket fielder is still in place to Ramiz Raja. And you haven't seen a short delivery bowled as yet by Waqas Mohammed. Just feel he's being wasted, Suhas, in the onside. We'll see if he does opt to go short. Full again, this time over the top. That's well timed out the middle of the bat. And Ramiz Raja, he's a class player on display at Prairie View.
No, touchful. And wonderful extension of arms from Ramiz. Was there to be hit. You could see his eyes go agog right away. And he's chosen a very safe area to no fielder in play. 4 runs collected.
I'll tell you one word that comes to mind with that stroke. Smooth. Much like my journey in that Toyota here to the ground, of course, from Sunoco, but that was so smooth from Ramiz Raja. And knowing the mid-off up in the circle, the moment that he earned in line, got 2 straight, he was able to hit it over that man. On the leg side, that's pressure now. I have to rebowl that one. Keep up to the stumps as well.
He's a deep mid-wicket fielder. We were talking about that, and you suggested it's a waste of a fielder indeed. It's a very good collect. That deviated quite a lot after pitching too. It's a wonderful collect.
This time off the inside edge. Fortunate for Ramiz Raja. And I'll say as well why I think that deep mid-wicket. I know I keep harping on it, sounding like a broken record, but I just think sometimes these small things, captaincy decisions, can make a huge difference. That man at deep mid-wicket, if he does try to bowl short at this pace, Zia Mohammed Waqas, the ball is going to stick into the surface. We saw it in the first innings. And Ramiz Raja will have the option to hit it anywhere into the onside. He's a good enough player to position it where he wants. This time over point, off the outside edge, but it's going to be runs. And he's a classy player. Ramiz Raja didn't quite find his rhythm in the last game, but really coming into his own. That's exquisite timing.
A terrific placement too. He's got the right ingredients to get a lovely boundary under his belt. Ramiz Raja Jr. is just exploring new areas now. He's making the fielders redundant with a little chip, and that's all you need to do in the first 6 overs. A little chip would do with this kind of an outfield.
It's probably being a bit harsh saying it come off the outside edge. Probably maybe off the, I would say more closer to the middle of the bat. Let me give Ramiz Raja his credit. As you said, it was well chipped and well positioned, knowing that even though it's a packed offside field, all of a sudden that deep mid-wicket finally comes up and pushes back the man at long off. This time though, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where fielders are. When Ramiz Raja's in this type of nick, he will find the boundary. That's 4 more for him.
Terrific hit. In fact, this might be the shot of the day. He's treating the pacer like a spinner. Down on one knee, just marginally full once again, gets the elevation. And what a good area to score runs in as well. Looks very stylish. One for the photographers as well.
What was so good about that stroke as well, even though it was full, he had to be aware that the long off was in place, had to position it wide of that man. Goes again this time, but finds the cover fielder. Should just be 1. But definitely the over that the Hurricanes needed just to get this run chase underway in full flow, full effect. A big over for them. 14 runs coming from it, 27 for 1.
My son, he's so soft-spoken. Everyone says he's so good-looking, and he never forgets to call.
Hi, Mom. Born for your true self. The 2022 Tundra. Toyota. Let's go places.
Well, had some tremendous action over the course of 2 weekends here in this 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship presented by Sunoco, our presenting sponsors for this year's tournament. Wouldn't be possible without them, especially our official sponsors as well. DAFA News coming on board this season. Always important to have good members on board, Suhas, to carry the game I think what's been so fantastic about the minor league is they've not only looked to expand in the USA, but globally by having brands like Toyota, Sunoco, and even Dafa News on board.
Absolutely. They have the subscribers all around the world, and that's what makes this game global too. And minor league's already global. The amount of talent that's coming through from the USA, the local players, not just that. You have players from the Caribbean flying in, adding the flair, South African players, of course.
You being in Delhi, India, Suhas, how did you hear about the minor league?
The question is, who around the world hasn't heard about it? It's so popular.
Yeah, really, we are privileged to be able to have this opportunity to watch, not only watch, analyze, see all the young talent. I think USA Cricket well set up in the next couple of years for this tournament and also for the future of international cricket as well. With that team now going to Zimbabwe for the qualifiers, on the brink of possibly qualifying for a T20 World Cup, steps in the right direction in cricket in this country. Umair Mir into the attack. Oh, that's going to be wide, and more runs as well. So the wheels falling off for the Blasters, and that's what a couple boundaries do. They just put you on the back foot, and things falling apart at the moment.
There couldn't have been a better gift to Houston Hurricanes. Didn't have to do anything. All the effort taken by the opponents, and you still get 5 without a ball being counted.
All of a sudden, that required a rate down to just a runner ball. Things very simple at this stage. Much better delivery, though, from Mir. Brought in, of course, for sort of to bolster that bowling attack. First game for him, and they're going to get an overthrow as well. So sloppy cricket at the moment for the Chicago Blasters. And when you only have 130 on the board, you have to be so intense in the field. Every run counts.
Yeah, you said it right. Every single run counts, and here's another gift. There was no damage there. There was no drama required, and then the single was allowed. This is when 2 fielders were lurking.
Yeah, you also got to know that Asad Shafiq is on strike and at the crease, so he's always looking to return and face as many deliveries as possible. Such a busy player, loves batting. That's the key. He enjoys batting. Interesting field again. This deep mid-wicket fielder, they love to have this protection in the onside. Goes full. The pads, but gonna come through for the single. Tell me about this fielder, Suhas, because I keep talking about it. We have a change in bowling, and they still have that deep backward square. He's coming up into the circle now for Ramiz Raja. But I just wonder, isn't it more sort of reactive captaincy from Mehidy, having that man in the deep, in the leg side? Especially, you need wickets.
Spot on there. You need wickets, and you need to attack and try and keep him on strike as much as possible, not allow that easy single. We'll get back to it.
Good Yorker from Mir. Slowly, he's finding his rhythm as he's progressed in the over.
Just get a feeling that he's got a man at backward square. Now, of course, not in the deep, but square legs come up initially to Ramiz Raza because it's one of his favorite shots to play. The pull, he's known for the pull shot, and of course that inside out over extra cover. These are the 2 shots that the Heat calls bread and butter.
But this time lifted, just lifted out of the top drawer and holds the pose as well for Dafa News. Ramiz Raja put him on the cover.
A terrific shot. Once again, easing into it. The idea was not to hit it hard at all. And the fact that it was a full toss just helping Ramiz Raza there. Just walking into that shot and ensuring that he gets it from the middle of the bat. Good placement too.
And just watching these 4 deliveries in the over, this is why I have to disagree with you in terms of the field. Having that man at deep mid-wicket for the pull from Ramiz Raja, you don't want your bowlers bowling short. You need wickets, so you want to be attacking the stumps and be full. Umair Mir has done that so far, but paid the price. Goes full again. That's a good shout. He was looking to play across the line. I wonder, was that just sliding down leg? Umpire Roshan Samuels thought so.
Yeah, the replay would definitely give us a better idea. The idea was to look for a single as well as far as Ramiz Raza was concerned. He knew that the boundary's already been achieved in the over. Missed it, and in our game, only 3 stumps are allowed. That probably would have missed the leg stump by a mile.
Yeah, 4th, 5th, probably even 6th stump as well. But decent shout. You can see why he asked the question. Oh, there it is. The stump goes for a walk. And Asad Shafiq looking to come down the track to create the length. Misses. And Umair Mir in his first game of the season says, you miss, I hit.
That was unnecessary. The shot selection would be questioned indeed, and that too coming from a senior batter. Would you believe it? In an over where runs had already been accumulated, that pitched in, deviated, hits the top of middle stump. As the middle cartwheels, Asad's got to map the way back to the pavilion. A shot that he'll rewind in mind as he walks for 10. A huge wicket in the context of the game, as men in pink, the Chicago Blasters, would now believe they can get another one.
Yeah, big wicket gone for the Houston Hurricanes. I don't know why. Needed to go to that option. Asad Shafiq having Ramiz Raja at the other end. Comfortable at the stage, well above the asking rate, just a runner ball needed, but looking to attack that power play, and that's what it does. When you bring up that deep mid-wicket, you place another fielder in the offside, you put pressure on the batters, you make them think, and that slight indecision leads to wickets. That's the game of cricket. Subtle, small differences. So Gaurav Bajaj into his first game of this tournament. Comes to the crease. Always important when you come to the middle, you're able to create an impact. And Bajaj in his first game, left out last weekend against the Mustangs. Got a point to prove. Last week we saw Nambalkar coming at number 4. So change in batting structure for the Hurricanes.
A change in batting structure, and he's a crisis man. We've seen that before. Off late in this particular ground itself, scored a wonderful half-century against Nepal. And he's looking in great touch. Gaurav Bajaj provided his services with a bat in hand and also as an off-spinner last year with the DC Hawks, and now this time finds home in Houston.
Getting that sort of inward movement was Umair Mir. Off sort of some seam position. We've seen that new ball from Mohammad Ilyas do something. And just coming across his stumps, looking to play into the onside. Asad Shafiq, given his prowess in the offside, I'm surprised he's opted to go for that selection in terms of the shot, but he knows he's missed out. Datta Prakash comes into the attack.
Now one of the wily customers, Datta Prakash, and loves to tangle the batter in the loop that he provides. Today it'll be interesting to see if he's got the heart to get the ball to loop a little, because the cushion that he has is diminished. It's not 170, it's 131 that the opponents are chasing as long as he is concerned. And Houston Hurricanes, despite losing wickets, are looking good.
Well, speaking of looking good, that's gone over cover. No cover fielder in the deep. And Ramiz Raja, well, just opens up his body and strikes it well. This is power from Raja. And he's carrying his team to a dominant position in terms of searching for this 131.
He's taking him on here. That had welcome Datta written all over it. Had the width, no problemo.
It had to drive on the up as well. It was a good length delivery. Wasn't very short or very full. So had to actually maneuver the ball over the top. And it's surprised that the off spinners actually started without the cover. Now cover in place. It's been pretty reactive from Mahedi so far to start this innings.
Nikhil, we were discussing, it's one of his favorite strokes. Ramiz Raza going inside out. He's finally found that one too. That checks one of the boxes, looking in great touch.
Yeah, this is smart batting from Raja. And I think for Gaurav Bajaj, just a need to try anything out of the ordinary. Just needs to continue to rotate the strike. Maybe get to the 10th over. And if they can get to anywhere close to 70 or 80 after 10, you're well on your way to chase 50 in the last 10. You should, with wickets in hand, get that quite easy. You've got to construct this run chase and take it in strides. Too often you see teams searching and thinking about the big picture. Cricket is a 6-ball game because every over is just 6 balls, ball by ball. You take it down, 5 runs here, 10 runs there. Not that I know too much, Suhas. Better in the box than on the field, but
I'll tell you what, the beautiful way in which you just described a complex game of cricket with such ease. Yeah, it's a matter of short. It's a matter of short span of time battling it out as well, and this is one such moment where runs are in the question. But if you can spend time in the middle a little and provide your side.
Straight to point. And That one straight to point. So Nana Prakash under pressure being hit to that boundary first delivery. But Ramiz Raja, good start for him. Second time he's got up to 27 in the tournament. This time though, that's big. And well, he's seen enough. Gaurav Bajaj, speak about keeping it simple. It's going all the way for the first maximum of the innings. Just too full and too slow, and he'll cash in every day of the week.
The Gaurav Bajaj, a tall lad, all he had to do was extension of arms coming through and allow that clean hitting, and in a very safe area, straight as an arrow, it travels.
Well, the tall man with long levers, you expect him to use. And why did he do that? So taking the pressure off to bring the 50 up with that maximum. Will be a dot to end. So pretty big over coming for the Houston Hurricanes. Less than a run ball required from here on in. End of the power play. A good result, 50 for 2.
Houston Hurricanes, Ramiz Raza there holding the innings together despite Munib's early exit, and Asad Shafiq also getting into double figures but finding his way back to the pavilion. Gaurav Bajaj has walked in and smashed a streak straight down the ground. A 6 that sends a statement to the men in pink, Chicago Blasters. They've used 4 bowlers so far.
Just think about small areas where probably field setting, a couple of moments in the field where it could have been a bit tighter, a few overthrows, and that could be the difference between 40 for 3 as opposed to 50 for 2, or 40 for 4 even, a couple of run-out chances. But there's a long batting card for the Houston Hurricanes. You'd have just seen Ashley Nurse, Usman Rafiq, 2 hitters down the order to come. Even Nina Nambalkar, who has shown that he is very capable, also got runs against Nepal, but Saklin Haider, been the mainstay in this top order for the Hurricanes last season, was brilliant for them in so many occasions. Spin into the attack again from the other end for, it's going to be Waqas to continue. Starts very straight, has that slip in place. I find it quite interesting. Of course, carrying the game to the global reach, Toyota. Great to have them on board for this entirety of the 2022 Minor League Cricket Championship. Title sponsors of this tournament. Does have protection in the deep. 5 fielders now outside the circle after the 6 overs. Covered, long off, long on, deep backwards. Pretty conventional field for the off spinner.
He's quite content giving away the single as well there. Skipper of Chicago Blasters.
He's down the track again, Ramiz Raja, but he knows it straight away. He's deposited it in the gap, and it's going to be another boundary. This is a masterclass from the man from Pakistan, and he's taken his team to a great position to win this game and pick up their first win of this tournament.
Once again picks the spots very nicely. Dancing down the track to make the gaps accessible as he always does. Now, even though there was a long on lurking, couldn't reach there in time, and once it went past him, it's gone hiding in the bushes. Well done. Now we'll play with the same spear. Not often do you see a ball being lost when it's a boundary and not a biggie. Waqas is going to make a good comeback here. But I'll tell you what, he'd be a little enticed with the fact that Ramiz was able to dance down the track like that. If a keeper has been taking cues from what his counterpart did, that is Saklin, then by this time, Waqas would have had a word from him.
Saklin Haider, who's brilliant with the gloves on, still to come with the bat in hand. 9 games, comes a long way across. Look at that, outside, probably about 5th stump. And looking to play the sweep.
It's one of those shots, I won't be surprised if Samuel just quietly asks the batter, why did you take a middle stump guard from me?
Again, looking for that slog sweep, coming a long way outside the off stump. When he's so good through extra cover as well, I'm not sure why he's opting to take that option. Ramiz Raja scored so prolifically in the offside in this innings thus far. Just can keep it simple, keep that score ticking over. 2 times he's tried. This is good bowling though. Keep it very wide by Mohammad Waqas. Sets up a brilliant final delivery of this over. Could go either way, something you just sense will give. 6 runs from the over so far. Does the responsible thing. Ramiz Raja wants to, calls it straight away. He's going to come back as well. Good running by Raja and one of the leaders in this Hurricanes team. Will end the over, 58 for 2.
What if I tell you the easiest way to maximize your tax savings, get bookkeeping done, and having a better financial position in the market is to call 1-800-250-8596. So what are you waiting for? Just pick up the phone and call us now.
Well, the clouds just beginning to cover the fantastic facilities at the Prairie View Cricket Complex. I always say one of the best in the United States in terms of cricket. 6 venues which will be used throughout the weekend. All the action happening, of course, on the MLC Network and Willow TV. Great to have you on this beautiful Friday evening. Call it the Friday Night Thriller. Bajaj just needs to get Ramiz Raja back on strike. The way he's struck it so far, 34 from 24 with 6 boundaries. Pretty much from the onset, even though they lost that early wicket, has looked in great nick, much like the rhythm we're used to seeing him. Man from Pakistan, who's such a big impact for this Hurricanes team over the years.
No, it's not a replay. It's just that Datta is so accurate. He's also accurate in the sense that he's induced the same shot from Bajaj.
He's learned his lesson so far. Hasn't been very full to Gaurav Bajaj, who's effortlessly just placed it over the boundary. Over. I'm actually surprised after conceding 11 that Mehidi's gone back to him, Datta Prakash. But I think he's trying to entice these 2 batters to play that big shot and bring them in with a wicket. He sends back 2 fielders now on that square boundary in the onside, deep backward square and deep mid wicket. So tells you that he could be looking to bowl at the body, probably on that good to short length. Just very straight to Ramiz Raja, but it's good batting, good awareness as well. Just placed it, didn't hit it very hard and knew he could get back for 2. This is smart cricketing awareness.
A wonderful cricket. It's not just the boundaries that he's looking for. Sometimes it's a teasing second run as well, which will put pressure on Chicago Blasters. Chicago Blasters in desperate need of wickets over here. This partnership, which is progressing with good pace, is troubling them because 131 is the target here. There's not much cushion left for the men in pink. Houston Hurricanes for the moment cruising.
Well, the sun has tricked me. Hasn't even given me 15 seconds of a break. Back on, back in scorching form. Ramiz Raja, though, he's not fazed by any sun. Looks like he's batting in an igloo at the moment. Ice in his veins, as they say in the NBA. This man has done nothing wrong. But you think, though, the Blasters will know at the back of their minds, can they get a wicket now? 1 always brings 2. You get the wicket of Ramiz Raja, all of a sudden you open up some of the vulnerabilities in that inexperienced Houston Hurricanes lineup. Yes, they have Usman Afrique and Ashley Nurse, but you just think, have to try and take wickets. I think the captain probably could be a bit more attacking in his field setting.
You used a word called proactive, and that's what he needs to be now. He's waiting for things to happen is what I feel. And that's not helping the Chicago Blasters. He's got to make things happen. It's a huge difference.
Well, that's made something happen. He's hit the leg stump. And looking to be too innovative, Ramiz Raja didn't need to do that because they were well on top of the game. And he's got... and thrown it away. So a big wicket for the Hurricanes. And that will cost and will be painful.
He didn't have to do this at all. For a man who's hitting so many runs in the V, he's played it straight onto the stumps. Gets a hug from the keeper. That is quite a send-off. Ramiz Raza trudging back to the pavilion, would have replayed it 100 times in his mind. A shot that wasn't called for. 36 or 27 is thrown it away after a very good start. Just what Chicago Blasters wanted. A big wicket of Ramiz Raza.
61 for 3.
What if I tell you the easiest way to maximize your tax savings, get bookkeeping done, and having a better financial position in the market is to call 1-800-250-8596. So what are you waiting for? Just pick up the phone and call us now.
Well, it's just 70 runs needed from the remaining 12 overs, but you think a couple of quick wickets could mean some trouble for the Houston Hurricanes. Of course, both these teams in search of that first win. Saqlain Haider comes to the middle, and he was the go-to man in that top order. The second leading run scorer for this Houston Hurricanes team last season. It was very, very reliable with the bat. They need new returns from him in 2022. With a fresh season, especially with some big absences. 294 runs for Haider. Got a 50 as well. Really won them some critical games. We saw how electric he is behind the stumps, but he's got to do a job with the bat in hand. Very full delivery. So spin has been in operation, and Mehidi's been happy to go to spin pretty much in these last 2 to 4 overs.
And it's worked, and this is why. A shot that he will not be proud of.
It's a single down the ground. So mentioned a lot about some of the absences, but one main one is Willem Ludwig, the South African all-rounder, who's not in this Hurricanes team for this tournament. 471 runs for his team last year. He was the main go-to, striking at over 140. And they will really miss his presence probably most of all in this Hurricanes team. So the likes of Nurse, Rafiq, some of the other all-rounders, Asad Shafiq, who's proven he can produce with the ball in hand. Some of those guys are going to have to step up in Ludwig's absence, but he's been such a revelation for that team last season. Bowling his seam up front with the newer ball. Ashley Nurse padded up, ready to come in next. Mohamed Ilyas getting some work to that shoulder. But it's about these two in the middle, Saqlain Haider and Bajaj. They won't want to leave it to anyone else to come. They want to finish the job off. So important to get that first win under your belt.
And very capable of doing so as well. What they need is a period of calm, because the required rate is not daunting at all.
You mentioned attacking captaincy from Mehedi. He's got a slip in place.
That's just the right thing to do. You've got to induce that outside edge. You've got to make the batter look outside his comfort zone as well if he wants runs. What I've also liked is the way the captain has used the spinners here. He's just persisted with him. Oh, this was a quicker one.
Just be a single, so Bajaj able to turn over the strike pretty easily so far. First game for him in this tournament. They need him to come good, need him to fire. Bowling very quickly. Waqas, haven't seen many deliveries actually spin because of how fast he's bowling it. Trajectory very low, so haven't Haven't seen a lot of bounce, but it's good line as well. We wanted to travel like those Sunoco vehicles. He's so good at that. Suckling Hyder, they want him, they're begging for it, but they're not going to get it. He loves that reverse sweep. He's won games for the Hurricanes literally off the reverse sweep. And umpire Roisin Samuel says inside edge.
A bit of that, just a bit of that. And that's all Sklein required. A man who swept his way into the hearts of so many. Finishes games with a 6-4 last ball, puts his team ahead in the tournament. All that's happened because of his sweep shot. And today it didn't disappoint.
He finally will get off the mark, Suckling Hyder. But he loves that reverse sweep. It's sort of live by the sword, die by the sword for him with that shot. End of 9, 65 for 3.
.65 for 3 in 9. Ramiz Raza was the last to go with 36 of 27. The real contribution coming from him. Munib went without troubling the scorers, and Asad went early too. Gaurav Bajaj and Suckling Hyder find themselves in the middle. And Gaurav Bajaj, 9 of 10, is looking promising to play a longer innings. Would want one. The fact that it's his very first game in the tournament.
He did now from the remaining 11 overs, well on track to win this game, the Houston Hurricanes. Still a lot of batting to come. A lot of thinking for Mahedi to do, the captain of this Blasters team. A team that only picked up 2 wins last season, the Chicago Blasters, against the Hurricanes team that finished second. So in that Central Division, which will be a hard fought with the Lone Star Athletics, the Mustangs and others, should be a hard fought division in every game, even up front. So critical. You don't want to lose too many and give yourself too much work to do at the back end of the tournament trying to make the playoffs. Spin again. Has controlled it well last couple of overs. Just 7 runs scored from the last 3 overs. Suhas, the spinners really coming into the game since the wicket of Ramiz Raja. An excellent stop. He's got to hurry at the bowler's end. The dive comes out. May have just saved him in the end.
Making every single run a struggle. This is good job from Chicago Tigers. Blasters, I beg your pardon. Blasters have been excellent today. Now this is the kind of fielding effort that Nikhil, we wanted to see from the word go. Very quick dispatch. And it's only the dive that has saved him there.
I'm not sure why the bowler took so long to throw the ball at the stump. He would have been dismissed even having caught the ball and then throwing it onto the stumps. He just waited for him to dive, then decided to throw it. So big let off for the Hurricanes. Could have been serious trouble.
You talked about the runs drying up after a cheeky shot not coming off.
Tell you, boy, this sun, Suhas, I mean, we're struggling with it in the commentary box. You have your shades on, but for me,
I can lend you for the next 5 overs. There you go.
I need them, man. But for these players as well, and looking forward to seeing what's to come in the next 4 days in this Texas heat. This is different level, 100 degrees plus in the next 4 days. So Awais Zia, who's come from the Austin Athletics team, I don't think he would have opted or expected to bowl so many overs, but he's been given the job by the captain. He's had a role to play so far, even though he hasn't picked up a wicket. Has asked some questions. Good length, optimal length he wants to bowl.
It's also the pace at which he's bowling, just tempting the batter. Now he's allowed to do that as well, Awais Zia. The runs have dried up. Singles have been the go-to denomination. And even those have been a struggle.
Back for 2. And should get it quite comfortably. So even in these overs, I like this from the Hurricanes. The fact that, yes, they haven't scored a boundary. Still playing sensible cricket. 5 from it. And the score now 70 for 3. Well, you can see they're very similar at one stage, but the Hurricanes just elevating themselves, well on their way to win. Just 61 needed, 60 balls. Should be a walk in the park when you think of the power to come. They want to ensure that they keep wickets in hand in case we have seen tricky, unforeseen things happen at Prairie View Cricket Complex here in Houston, Texas. Of course, second weekend of this 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship.
It's going to be trial by spin that will continue. These are easy pickings, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's good batting from Saqlain Haider. Even though, yes, he had the one scare with the reverse sweep. So far, him and Gaurav Bajaj, they've looked pretty responsible at the crease. And have done well to just push it around for these singles. You literally need less than a run a ball. From here on in, you don't need to take many risks. You will get those boundaries here and there. But also, credit to the spinners as well. You just think, Suhas, had they had maybe 10 or 20 more runs on the board, how different.
Yeah, more cushion for the spinners, of course. They would have tossed the ball a little more. It's one of the things that cricket teaches you, isn't it, Nikhil? That's it's what you have. Work within that. Try and make a game out of that. It's what champions do. Chicago Blasters are finding a champion in this man too.
He hasn't picked up any wickets yet, Suhas.
He's kept it tight.
You're giving him champion ranks for that?
Want to use a different word?
Question to you. I just think champion. Think of Ravichandran Ashwin or Jadeja. Side of the world.
What they need right now is also some fueling. That's why it's fueling the tournament too.
Loud appeal, but Mills wasn't interested in it. Gonna come back for a second run as well. Run out chance at the bowler's end. Everything happened there, chaotic. Saqlain Haider wasn't interested in running at first, not sure why. Run signaled as well, so the Blasters, well, unable to inflict that wicket, but needed that. Here's a look at it again.
There was a little slip before the throw was dispassionate. That's what allowed him to come back for the second as well. And the fact the throw was at the striker's end. Bajaj was late to respond to that run, and Haynes took a little bit more time to get to the non-strikers.
This will be more runs for Saqlain Haider, who's played this situation really well. These tools, steps in the right direction for this 1-3-1 total. They're just getting back to that. Last year, the Blasters finished 6th position in that Central Division, just won a couple of games, and it was really the batting that was the problem. And so far in the season, 131 last weekend and 130 today. Still with the additions of Awais Zia, hasn't fired in the capacity that we expect and that you need to win games. So that will be something that they'll have to go back and consider.
Houston Hurricanes are very clear with their plan. They're quite content with picking up singles and milking the bowling at the moment. 77 for 3.
वकास रुकेगा अभी वकास 1, 2, 3
Took that last corner pretty quick.
Sir, I need one hand on the roof, one hand on the pump.
Timeout for Sunoco Go Rewards.
Keep pumping.
With new Sunoco Go Rewards, when you fuel, you save, because rewards come first.
Good ball, good ball, good ball, good ball.
We're back here at Prairie View. Spin as well, continuing. tell you, Suhas, these last couple of overs, since the 5th over, we've seen all spin work to be done at cover, and does well just to keep it to 1. 7 overs.
Over, and Chicago Blasters, the skipper is just looking around and saying, okay, who can roll their arm over and be called a spinner? Put your hand up.
But I do wonder, though, now with this partnership developing nicely, and now with the game slowly slipping away from the Blasters, I wonder, though, do you need to get your seamers back in? We saw Zia Al-Haq produce a good first over to get the wicket of Munib Chowdhury. This time in the air, but just over the man. He likes to be very nifty in his shot selection. Saqlain Haider is going to not get to the boundary, or does he? Yes, he does in the end. A good effort. Doesn't cut it off. So Haider loves to play behind square. Finally gets his first.
Yeah, it's a shot that'll make him feel much, much better. Something that he's been trying for a while as well. And the fact that he's got it so right gives him the result that he wants the most, a boundary. And these are the ones that provide great joy to the batter, when you tease the fielder till the end, not the one that just smashed through.
Oh, this is it. Switch hit. Lovely awareness. 2 fielders up in the circle. They can only stand and watch. This is Saqlain Haider's bread and butter, as they say. He's made a name for himself in this game because of his innovation. And it's on display. This partnership developing nicely. Now 26. The Hurricanes very close to winning this game.
No, the way he picks up length just reminds me of Paul Nixon. A terrific hit indeed. The bat percentage on that one just enough. It's a ball that'll be greeted in that dugout.
Well, he goes again, but this time goes straight to the man, and it's a wicket. Just the wicket that they needed. The Chicago Blasters, Saqlain Haider, again another batter, getting a start and just throwing it away. The Hurricanes will be disappointed that no one's put their hand up in this run chase and opted to bat deep. Didn't need to, just struck 2 boundaries, looking for a third. 1 too many. He's got to go.
The fact that he wanted to play for the crowd, well, that is easily taken. It's a plan that has worked. It's just that it's worked a ball late. Saqlain departs, another batter who gets a start but doesn't convert and doesn't stay there till the end. Will make way for Ashley Nurse. Saqlain Haider.
87 for 4 after 12.
Batsman is here, fellas.
Well, I like this move from Usman Rafiq. He'll be very disappointed, Saqlain Haider, but the big man walks in, Ashley Nurse, who struck 6s in every corner of this Prairie View cricket complex. He's played cricket here now for a couple of years. Big member for this team in the minor league last year. It's why they finished 2nd, because of his all-round and also his leadership abilities off the field. But I like the fact, I just thought he was wasted in the last game. Came in at number 7. You can't keep a man with that much power, only facing 2 and 3 deliveries in an innings. So he comes in at number 5 to number 6 today, looking to just see things off for his team and bat them to a comfortable position.
Yeah, Mehdi having a mid-pitch conference, suggesting that this is the moment, boys. Pick up another wicket and then we might be in. They need wickets over here. Containing with Ashley Nurse in the middle is just not an option. As far as the men in pink, the Blasters of Chicago, are concerned.
Yeah, Bajaj has done well. He's been quietly up to 14, and I think because the others, like Ramiz Raja and Saqlain Haider, have scored prolifically and quickly, haven't seen much of him. 8 overs remain in this contest. More spin into the attack, this time left arm spin.
Chipper will roll his arm over. He's been key last year for Seattle Thunderbolts.
But I think if you want to play for this Chicago Blasters team, Suhas, you know you have to be a spinner. Everybody both spin in this team.
I thought candidacy works the other way. In a team of spinners, you try and be the pacer.
4 out of 6 bowling options, all spin for this Blasters team.
How much of it is composition and how much of it is the surface? He's quite content there, rocking on the back foot, the big man.
I think what the Hurricanes have done well in this run chase, yes, they lost the wicket early, but you look at the partnerships. 1 of 38 between second wicket, then 22, 26. So they've done really well to ensure that they keep partnerships building. Onto the single there, Bajaj. You can just tell the dot ball's getting to them a bit. Have to just keep their heads on. The Hurricanes, they're well in charge, well on top. Less than a run of ball needed. 40 for victory. Should be a walk in the park from here. Of course, this 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship presented by Sunoco. Wouldn't be possible without them. Wouldn't be possible to bring you this supreme coverage from Prairie View. Bajaj finally gets his one. He's been looking for that for a while.
What these singles are doing is also allowing Ashley Nurse to play himself in. Finds himself at the striking end once again. And for a man who can hit almost every single ball out of the park, just tells you cricket is a game of...
Well, this is just down the ground. Ashley Nurse, so he only needs one ball to look for on the charge. I can tell you a couple of big blows from him could just put this one to bed. He'll know it, even though, yes, there's no real pressure, less than a run of ball needed. A couple of boundaries would really put the final nail in the coffin of this Blasters team. Net run rate, how much do you consider that in terms of when you're in a position like this, 6 wickets in hand, less than 40 runs required now for victory? Looking to get that win quickly, or are you just looking to get over the line?
Looking to get over the line because it's the first win that they're looking after. 92 for 4. Ramiz Raza, 36 of 27, set the game up nicely for the Hurricanes. Munib Riyasat went without troubling. Asad Shafiq was there for 10. Gaurav Bajaj is playing a quieter innings today, 17 of 20. For the man playing for the first time in this league, in this edition, Ashley Nurse has walked out just now. 2 of 2 for him. A lot of batting to come with Ninad and Usman.
Yeah, it shows you that this is a flexible batting lineup for the Hurricanes. Last weekend we saw Nimbalkar come at number 4. Today going for Bajaj. So far so good for him, but probably comfortable to be at home and just chasing 130. Allows batters to really get in the rhythm, play their way in. And really 39 needed from 7 overs. I think 9 times out of 10 you give that to the batting team with 6 wickets in hand. More spin from the other end. Spin has been in action since the 5th over. Bajaj has been happy to just find 1. Probably sensible when you have Saqlain Haidar, who's such a good player of spin with that innovation. Now Ashley Nurse, anything full he will go after. You back him to clear any boundary in the world, not only at the Prairie View Cricket Complex.
He's holding himself back a little, perhaps because of the situation here. I'll tell you what, if it's in a slot, then it doesn't deserve to be in the park. So very often just targets the straighter boundaries as well. It's make the boundaries look minuscule many a time in this very venue.
But will find the man. Be disappointed that he missed out. It was a full delivery. Brave option to bowl full, but clearly the planning is trying to entice him to go over the top and potentially hold out to that long off fielder. It's brave bowling, but I like it so far from Data Prakash. Sorry, a chipper it is. Oh, it is Data Prakash, sorry, beg your pardon. Both decent so far, just under 7 runs and over conceded. This is the matchup I want to see though. Does he change that pace, bowling to Nurse? Gonna find out in the space of a couple of deliveries.
Flatter would be better, otherwise the ball will travel.
Does go flatter. Ashley Nurse just tucks it in the onside. Bowling to his field, Data Prakash. with two fielders out in the deep on the leg side.
What would Ashley Nurse be telling himself here, Nikhil? Wait for the right delivery, go for the big shot, play your natural game.
Probably just look to see it off to the end. Knows the importance of being an experienced player in this situation. Comes back for an easy 2. Don't want to take too many risks with just 35 runs required. 6+ overs left in this innings. 4 singles, but I think Gaurav Bajaj as well. Been there for a long time. 23 deliveries, well set. Could easily see him up the ante at some point. You will get boundaries, though. You don't have to take too many risks. Well bowled, but even better to the task was Bajaj. And he's going to get a boundary from a misfield. So you mentioned just that boundary is going to come. That's a big finish to the end of the over. 9 runs coming from it. And, well, the ideal over for the Hurricanes as they hunt down this 131.
Yeah, good shot. Too much to do with the deep. Despite the dive, the ball evades. The dive looked stylish, but the ball looked more stylish. 100 comes up for Houston Hurricanes, and in great style. 1 or 2 for 4.
Sun finally beginning to give us a rest here at Prairie Review Cricket Complex. But boy, has it been in its full form today. Just looking for some reinforcements. Ashley Nurse maybe changing bat. He's got a lot of those, Suhas. He's got a lot of those bats in that gear bag. Asking for the helmet.
I think it's going to be the Pacers back on. You almost forgot that's another craft in our game.
Yeah, I would say about time, to be honest, from Mahedi. We need 5 runs and over, less than. Have to try things. I think you look at the scorecard in terms of Zia Al-Haq. He had something about him. 2 overs, 1 for 7. I just wondered, could he have been brought back into the attack a bit earlier?
In hindsight, it seemed so. It's just that the captain wanted another over from a spinner to eke out another one. Him persisting with spin has got him the wickets. Now he realizes Nurse is also getting into his groove. Spin might not be the best option. Gaurav Bajaj has batted well according to the situation. 25 of 24 with minimum risk.
I don't think Nurse will mind the seam, the extra bit of pace on the ball. And is that man, Zia Al-Haq Mohammed? Hope it's not too late, though, from the captain. Just 29 runs needed as the sun sets on day 1 of this long weekend in this 2022 Minor League Cricket Championship. Of course, 2nd week of this tournament presented by Sunoco. Of course, our official sponsors, Dafa News. Wouldn't it be possible without our corporate partners on board for this tournament? Just holds the pose and gets through the man. So will be a lucky single for Nurse. Was waiting to see if it would beat that mid-off fielder. He's up in the circle. I like that captaincy to have that man up. Tempt Nurse to go over the top.
He's eventually affording a smile as well, both the batter and the fielder. For a moment, he was searching for the ball, even though he knew at some stage that he'd stop. Straight at the ground, did well to stop it. He knew he's got a boot to it, but then searches for it.
Just wanted to see the signal from Samuels, but I think Daphne was backed. No, wide's given, so extra is a problem for both these teams. We saw 5 extras so early in the innings for the Hurricanes. Mohamed Ilyas.
Very poor delivery indeed. The keeper couldn't do much either. Mahedi usually a fantastic keeper, but if he cannot get there, just imagine. 3 runs granted to Houston Hurricanes without having to break a sweat.
Another easy single. This is good batting, though, from Bajaj. In his first game, I think he's played the situation really well, the young man. and has set himself up as well to compete probably for a place in the 11 pretty much for the entirety of the weekend. He's deserved it with this, the way he's batted. You think if he had lost his wicket early on, could be 5 or 6 wickets down, more trouble. You never know with a small total.
And the fact that he was promoted up the order, they gave him the confidence there by pushing him up the order and try and give him game time as well. Otherwise, it would have been enough to be batting there. And he's delivered.
Well, through extra cover, but there is a fielder in the deep, so just be a single. They're still looking for that first boundary. It's a man that likes to score quickly. Ashley Nurse, skins on the bat. That long time nickname for him. He's gone through his international career, his CPL career with it. Gonna get over though from Zia Al-Haq. Well, that's good batting from Bajaj, and fine leg in place there. But these signals you're not going to mind too much. The Hurricanes well on their way to win this one. 2 blockbuster matches coming to you tomorrow from the Prairie View Cricket Complex on our premium coverage. In the morning, the Grizzlies up against the Michigan Cricket Stars. And of course, in the afternoon, the home team, the Houston Hurricanes, in action against the defending champions. That's going to be a cracker.
And one of the concerns in this over for Chicago Blasters is the fact that runs have been granted with a sense of ease. They haven't made Houston Hurricanes work for the runs. And that's what has reduced the efficacy of Zia Mohammed, who usually thrives by bowling dot deliveries and then picking up a wicket. Runs have come easily, and a single's all that's required for Houston Hurricanes. They're able to achieve that with minimum risk.
Good short delivery, but the direction was the problem. The line was the issue. Another extra for him. Had our first 100 of this tournament in this 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship for the Michigan Cricket Stars. You see their cross-seam delivery, trying to bowl the bouncer, but just the direction all wrong. Ashley Nurse not going to play at that one. 119 from Norman Anwar for the Michigan Cricket Stars, who will be in action tomorrow morning on Willow TV and the MLC Network. 119 in 63 deliveries. Good game unfolding. Another bouncer, another wide. Wheels beginning to fall off here now for the Blasters. I think pretty much done and dusted.
Another poor delivery. At a time where his team couldn't afford one, he's bowled 3 of them. It's becoming a long, long over for Zia. 111 for 4. Nelson. Can we get a hop from you, Nikhil? No? Not with the sun?
Fired in, good Yorker to Ashley Nurse. Much better though, I like that option. Much better than the short delivery, because even if you're bowling short to Ashley Nurse, you will just help it along, and even with that man at fine leg, it's a huge vacant area in the onside, so got to be very careful. This is an extremely long over. 8 deliveries already bowled in it. See, there have been very defensive in his field setting though, Mahedi. Those fielders on the onside, almost like setting a field for bad bowling. That's what they say in the Caribbean. Bajaj wants a single but won't get it there for sure. To point. Finally ends the over, and well, the Hurricanes, pretty much a matter of when. 112 for 4, just 19 needed for victory.
My son, he's so soft-spoken. Everyone says he's so good-looking, and he never forgets to call.
Hi, Mom. Born for your true self. The 2022 Tundra. Toyota. Let's go places.
Took that last corner pretty quick.
Sir, I need 1 hand on the roof, 1 hand on the pump.
Timeout for Sunoco Go Rewards.
Keep pumping.
With new Sunoco Go rewards, when you fuel, you save, because rewards come first.
Well, if you're now joining us, the well in charge to pick up their first win of this 2022 Toyota. Just 19 runs away from victory. Plenty of overs in hand. Edham alongside me. The main thing will be getting over the line, picking up that first win.
Some experience as well. Not with Mohit bowling. They're not trying to run. They're letting the game unfold, taking it deep. Because Nurse believes it's a matter of a couple of balls in his slot. Drastically. It's good to see him play that way. Run a ball 7 for Nurse.
So Mohit Patel will come into the attack for the first time. Quite surprised that the captain hasn't gone to him, given the fact that he picked up 10 wickets as the under-21 player for this Blasters team last season. So a good all-round option for them. Just one ball with the bat in hand. Can he do anything with the ball? Make a difference. Starts well. Definitely going down the leg side. So Ashley Nurse been quiet. Less than a run a ball. You don't usually see that from the big man, but playing the situation well. No need for a wicket to fall at this stage.
Just closing the face of the bat as well there. Playing down the wrong line. As far as Gaurav Bajaj is concerned, he's grabbed the opportunity with both hands. Run a ball 27 for him because it didn't require a flashy innings from him today, the situation.
Well, look at the power from Nurse. And in the vacant area, he knew that cow corner region was free. And that one out the top drawer from the big man from Barbados. And yeah, have a laugh about it. Good shot, good stroke, statement piece from Nurse.
A terrific hit. He was playing the waiting game too. It was about one being in his slot, and this definitely was. The ball stays hit when Nurse hits it.
He latched onto it so quickly. It was just very full. Mohit Patel doesn't have the pace to threaten Ashley Nurse, and he knew once he was able to pick it up, enough space in the onside to find that gap. So now all of a sudden they do have a cow corner fielder. 5 outside the circle. He's got the deep point, deep, long on, long off, mid-wicket, square leg. Keep up to the stumps as well. Smart batting. Wants back to strike. Should get it quite comfortably. And will.
Not only is he concentrating on the biggest of shots, but he's also ensuring that he's able to milk singles and twos. And the fact that he deliberately hit it so delicately, such a treat to watch indeed. And Bajaj was clear back for 2. Nurse pushed him.
You think of Ashley Nurse, you don't think you know the power of the man. Goes like, and it just was in with a big chance. Boundary, Mohamed Waqas, but didn't carry to him.
The game nicely poised as far as the Hurricanes are concerned. Gaurav Bajaj with a run ball 27 is seeing them through.
Off the inside edge, more runs. Bajaj, this is a good controlled, measured approach from him. The 1-4 and 1-6, but mainly it's been about the running between the wickets. And the fact that he's been that sort of man to bat through to stabilize the innings for the likes of Haider. Asad Shafiq at one stage batted well, but it's been all about that. Gaurav Bajaj, a couple hits away now from winning their first win, the Hurricanes. Very full delivery, gets away with it. Missed out Ashley Nurse. It's going to be a wide, so another extra to the total. With fine leg up in the circle, brave length and line to bowl. Mohit Patel is a young man, under 21 player. You'll relish this challenge to bowl to a man with so much experience.
He's got a very good slower one. Can he bring that out here?
He does bring it out, and it goes straight up. And Patel calls it, should take it, and does. Clinical bowling from the young seamer. First over into the attack, takes the wicket.
Mixing it up and having the courage to bowl a slower delivery. And in an area where he has to invite Nurse to go for one of his favorite strokes straight down the ground. Attracts the miscue, gets the wicket. It was slightly early into the shot, Nurse, and he knew he was in trouble as he got only height and no distance on it. Mohit called for it, didn't want anybody else coming near it, and it's sweet pain at the end of that catch.
Nurse departs for 14. Hurricanes still expect them to go on a win after 16, 121 for 5.
What if I tell you the easiest way to maximize your tax savings, get bookkeeping done, and having a better financial position in the market is to call 1-800-250-8596. So what are you waiting for? Just pick up the phone and call us now.
So Nimbalkar comes into the crease. Team needing just 10 runs to win. Be good for him to hit the winning runs and just get some confidence under his belt.
Right there, I'm over.
So 10 needed from 4 overs. Can still win this if you are the Hurricanes. Quite comfortably with overs to spare. And help your net run rate, given the fact that you lost that first game pretty close to the Mustangs. But this win will help the Hurricanes in terms of progressing in this tournament.
It's a good collect, but a single would still be possible, Nikhil. So I think Gaurav Bajaj has a clear message being sent out that Houston Hurricanes do not want any more hiccups. He's been there, put in the hard yards, got a runner ball 28, needs to stay there till the end. Nimbalkar joins him. And Nikhil, perhaps this is a great time to be thinking about the net run rate as well, you feel? Or you want a quiet finish, that's more important. Get the 2 points.
Good delivery from the seamer. Probably just look to take this down with least risk as possible. As you said earlier, Suhas, that first win always so important to get one under your belt. Well, your first game in Houston, how have you enjoyed conditions?
No complaints, to be very honest. No complaints whatsoever.
Not even the heat?
I'm coming from Kuwait. It was 55 degrees Celsius and he still smiled because cricket is what we're covering.
Have to hurry, have to hurry. Direct hit could have been very interesting. You can see Nimbalkar looking to get off strike, looking to tick over that total. We need to get you, Suhas, into a very fast vehicle from Sunoco on the way home with some nice air condition. Very fast like that, but I can tell you he was gone by a long way. Nina Nimbalkar.
The question here, Nikhil, was that single required? Situation isn't daunting. Required rates under control.
Well, hindsight is 2020. They'll say it was a great run. Wanted to just press on the front foot. I wonder though with Gaurav Bajaj, he's shown us that he can play this type of innings, scored a runner ball for 29, but there will be situations in this tournament where he will, if he bats like this, towards the last 5 to 7 overs, have to accelerate with wickets in hand. Can he have that aspect of his game as well? I think he's done extremely well to play this situation.
Yeah, just like Toyota cars, one can be very quick and at the same time can be very safe. Gaurav Bajaj has shown both attributes.
Full delivery, fired in, another quick single. Just one hit away now, 6 runs needed. Plenty of time, but I don't think Nina Nimbalkar, given the way he's played, is looking for too many big shots.
Do you imagine this game to be finished with quiet singles between Ninad and Gaurav Bajaj?
Hard to predict, but based on the nature of these two, don't expect too many risks. This one down the ground, but it will just be another single, so 4 in the over. End of 17, 126 for 5.
What if I tell you the easiest way to maximize your tax savings, get bookkeeping done, and having a better financial position in the market is to call 1-800-250-8596. So what are you waiting for? Just pick up the phone and call us now.
The curtain draws close on It's been a successful first day of this historic second weekend in Minor League Cricket Championship, of course, by Toyota, presented by Sunoco. And well, if this is a sign of what's to come, should be in for some exciting action with teams playing and operating. Over 5 games happening at one time at the Prairie View Cricket Complex. Just 5 to win for the first game of that busy weekend. 5 to win for the Houston Hurricanes. We'll be happy that they, after finishing second, getting to the playoffs last year but falling short, finally got that first win under their belt. Such a different team, have had to make a huge transition, huge change. Mohit Patel, after picking up the wicket of Nurse, back into the attack.
2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship. Here's one man that all selectors will be looking forward to watching as well. Mohit Patel, he's impressed one and all with that slower delivery. How many more tricks he has up his sleeve? Nikhil, I think they're listening to you. The keeper's up.
Well, slowly but surely wins the race. That's what these two in the middle dealing with. No real risk. Eager to see though if they do get the opportunity. Icing on the cake for Bajaj after all the hard work he's done to finish it off with a boundary, but hit the winning runs more importantly. Oh, ball by Patel. Definitely has something about it, Mohit Patel. I'm shocked that the captain, Eddie, went to him so late, pretty much when the game was gone. Would have wanted to see him probably maybe an over in the power play or even in that period, in that big partnership between Bajaj and Haider.
Was Mehdi absorbed in the fact that spinners are doing the job? And here's a man who has got lovely cutters. Mohit Patel. In 8 deliveries, he's already stamped his authority. 1 of 10.
Punched well, but straight to the field. Just 4 away now. Still 4 away from victory. The Hurricanes don't want to let this get too deep in the innings. Just 1 hit away. You want to finish it off with some confidence. Time to spare. In this situation, I think you can think about the net run rate.
It's terrific when the keeper stands up.
Mohit single. Definitely not on the cards. Just 3. Now needed. Single down 1 by 1.
Yeah, one of the points to discuss at the end of this game for Chicago Blasters is Mohit Patel not bowling out.
Well fielded in the circle just to keep it to 1. So just 2 now needed for victory. I think Mohit Patel could have been possibly used better. They didn't trust him with the bat in hand. Mohammad Waqas tried to get back on strike, ran him out with still 9 deliveries remaining, and we saw the capitulation in the last over. 12 runs, but no other runs scored after those first 2 balls with those 2 maximums. All those small things make a huge difference. 10, 15 runs here or there. Could be a different game. Want to. He's going to call for it. Going to have to hurry. Run out chance to the keeper's end. They'll get there comfortably. And the Houston Hurricanes, the home team at this Prairie View Cricket Complex, complete their first win of this 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship by some 5 wickets in pretty convincing manner in the end.
Now, very well played. Gaurav Bajaj, cool, calm, keeping things under control. Never was phased with the ball spinning a little more, bouncing a little more than expected. Gaurav Bajaj staying there till the end and getting the job done for Houston Hurricanes. Gets an opportunity with the bat in hand, makes it count.
Well, there will be smiles on the faces of those Hurricanes, knowing that pretty hard-fought game. They were under pressure early with the ball, but once they began to take wickets, they never looked back, and pretty convincing and a good way to open your account in terms of the wins column. Well, the Hurricanes, with 4 games coming to them thick and fast, will take a lot from this, the way that they bowled especially. But in terms of the batting, well, it was all about one man, Bajaj, in terms of his steady stability in the middle. 33 from 35 for him. Starts though from Ramiz Raja at the top of the order again in this tournament. He'll be disappointed he didn't kick on. Saqlain Haider and Ashley Nurse were good as well. But main thing was that they played the situation well and won within 18 overs.
Chicago Blasters tried their best. And the spinners galore at one point. Ziaul Haq Mohammed, the pacer, picked up a wicket away. Zia picked up 1-2. Umair Mir and Datta Prakash were also amongst the wickets. So was Mohit Patel, the young 18-year-old who dismissed Ashley Nurse towards the end. 131 eventually achieved by Houston Hurricanes, who had a very, very good batting order and a lovely pair of hands there from Bajaj and Imbalkar towards the end.
Well, there you have it. The Houston Hurricanes winning their first game of this tournament pretty convincingly by 5 wickets. Don't go anywhere. When we return from this short break, we'll have highlights and the man of the match.
My son, he's so soft-spoken. Everyone says he's so good-looking, and he never forgets to call.
Hi, Mom. Born for your true self. The 2022 Tundra. Toyota. Let's go places.
So Houston Hurricanes winning this one quite convincing in the end. A good start to the weekend for them when you look at the games that they have coming up. Tomorrow they'll take on the defending champions, the Silicon Valley Strikers, the San Diego Surf Riders, the SoCal Lashings, all games coming up for them. So for them to start in this manner, in this fashion, winning by 5 wickets, will be very elated about the way they've gone about this game. You can see there good discussions happening in the middle between the Hurricanes and some of their management staff. The way Matthew Tromp was able to bowl with picking up 3. Asad Shafiq, sort of the unsung hero with his 2 wickets for 9 runs in 3 overs. But Mohamed Ilyas at the top of the innings set the tone as well with his 2 for 23. And then with the bat in hand, well, Ramiz Raja set the tone, the opener, with his aggressive 36 from just 27, and then playing the perfect innings in terms of very controlled, collected, measured to get his team over the line. Some 2 overs to spare. But let's have a look at some of the highlights in terms of how the innings would have actually unfolded. With the Hurricanes chasing that 1-3-0 pretty easily in the end, even though there was some hiccups along the way. Zia Al Haq, well, he started extremely well, plucking the leg stump out of Munib Chowdhury. Asad Shafiq played a couple strokes, which took us back to the glory days, till he was dismissed. And Ramiz Raja, though, he picked up where Shafiq left off with some glorious, exquisite drives in the offside, a couple over cover, a couple down the ground. And he was just sublime to watch for this Hurricanes team. Yet another start. Asad Shafiq didn't need to play that stroke, came a long way across his stumps, was then dismissed. That was a beautiful shot over extra cover. Inside out, had to play it on the up by Ramiz Raja. Really is a class player and rely heavily on. And a flighted delivery, just deposited over the boundary, but that was the real only aggression we saw from him. Well, as Ramiz Raja continue to build this partnership. And well, then Ramiz Raja, looking to be a bit too crafty, had to go, played it onto his leg stump. And when Raja was dismissed, Suckling Haider to the middle, who played some pretty interesting strokes. He's so strong behind square, but then fell in the end, just caught. Coming down the track, played a couple through extra cover. That was a misfield which should have already been stopped. Mohit Patel came and got the wicket straight away of Ashley Nurse after a small cameo from him. Good catch from his own bowling. And in the end, the Blasters, they did show good glimpses of positivity in their bowling efforts with a lot of spin in the middle, but it wasn't enough to get over the line. Today's player of the match, of course, the Toyota Tundra player of the match, Matthew Tromp. Matthew, welcome into the commentary box, and congrats, 3 for 23 in your bowling performance. Must feel very good to get underway in the tournament in the wickets column.
Yeah, most definitely. Some of the opening batsmen and breakthrough for the team. Yeah, it feels really good, and I'm happy to be in the wickets column.
Tell me about the planning, Matthew. Obviously, away Zia, he was on the charge in that power play. They got to 55. You got him out. He was 38 and was firing. What was the plan to him?
Just to target the stumps, really. The wicket was staying low. Yeah, just stay tight to the stumps, and I knew he would go at it. And yeah, got lucky with a good catch on the boundary. So.
Now tell me about this, Matthew. You and your brother have come a long way to the USA. How has this happened, and also how much have you enjoyed playing cricket on this side of the world?
Yeah, loved it so far. Yeah, I'm from Johannesburg, South Africa, so it's good to be in the USA. Love playing cricket so far. It's, yeah, really enjoying it, and can't wait to continue with my career here.
What's the goal for this season quickly? How many wickets are you looking at?
If I can take close to 15, I would be happy. I mean, just get some experience this season and learn from the best, and can't wait to.
Well, there you heard it. Young, bright talent, bright spark in this Houston Hurricanes team, Matthew Tromp. 3 wickets for 23 runs today. Today's player of the match. Congrats to you, and we wish you all the best for the rest of the season.
Thank you so much.
Well, there you heard it. The Houston Hurricanes, a big reason why they were able to pick up that win was because of Tromp's brilliant bowling up front. And now with that win, the Hurricanes, they've got themselves underway in that Group A. Up to 4th position on the same points as the Stars, the Tigers, and we'll be looking to continue their prowess as this weekend continues. Well, for the Blasters, 2-2 now in terms of losses. They've got a lot of work to do in this Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship. Tomorrow, of course, we've got 2 blockbuster matches coming to you. Grizzlies up against the Cricket Stars, who are up in the group in terms of Group A. You don't want to miss that. That's coming at 10:30 a.m. And then in the afternoon, the defending champions take on the home team, the Silicon Valley Strikers, up against the Houston Hurricanes. It's a blockbuster weekend here at Prairie View Cricket Complex in this 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship. See you tomorrow. We can't wait for the action.
Yeah, we got a new curator here in Houston, man. Hey, do you need to take this stump mic?
Yeah, Pete. All right. Tomorrow morning, now, I assume you have to do a rehearsal with Brian. So what time should I tell him to get here for and me get here for? 10:30. Yeah, let me double check, but I'm pretty sure it's 10:30. All right, cool, no problem. Yeah, no problem. Is it 10:30? Yeah, I'll talk to him tonight. Josh, when's Brian coming in today? Tonight.
Oh, sorry, no, tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning at what time?
Before the game.
Oh, I think he's just come here for the game. But I'll call him now and find out. He's the one that will be on time though. He lives right here anyway. Yeah, but he has to do the other game too.
He's definitely coming in tomorrow morning.
But he said Josh said he's coming for the game, so I'll call him now and find out for sure. But he's usually never late, so he'll be alright.